man.
I didn't see that part. Bro, they got shot to make the playoffs. Okay, what the fuck?
Like you mentioned Grant, played with him in the Cape. Is there anybody else, maybe somebody that was a freshman that's going in a sophomore like Grant, that LSU fans should keep an eye on next year?
First meeting was like, yeah, we got the 6-year guys like Vittmeyer and Bianco. I'm like, bro, I'm a normal senior. He goes, are you really? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I swear. And he goes, no.
I don't even know this one.
Did you know Hideki had a huge porn collection? He just made that up. Nope. Google it. Google it.
What did y'all give him this morning? He is off the racks over here, man.
He asked me specifically for Vyvanse this morning. I didn't give it to him. I was confused.
Oh, look out. Mikey's hit, and down he goes. Man. And he is not happy at all. That is the second time that Mikie Mahtook has been hit in this game. But this
Never forget it, bro. I had a 7 or 7:30 exam in the morning, so I walk outside.
Real life.
And I walked I'm like walking in my car, and I'm like, damn, I could have sworn I parked over here. I'm like, what? Nah, maybe it's out here. I'm gonna go look around over here, bro. I walked like 3 parking spots, like in the direction I thought I probably parked. I'm like, fuck that! I know I'm parked right here.
Kids still doing that and out there playing for hours instead of just chilling on the video games is awesome to see.
Chilling on the video games. Did you just age 55,000 years?
Well, we call them Fortnite nerds.
Yeah. Chilling on the video games.
I mean, chilling, like playing video games.
That's the way to say it, yes?
You think an old man would say chilling on the video game?
That's what you just said, yes.
You think an old man would say chilling?
On the video game?
On the video games?
Yeah.
Well, oh well.
You're an old man.
If you want, I'm not a gamer.
You're getting older.
I mean, I guess
Mikey.
Yo, 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 yo. Good evening. Welcome back to Mik'd Up. Today's Wednesday, December 14th. We are brought to you by Sterling Automotive. We have a great show for you today. Got a lot to talk about. It's going to be a Mike Leach Appreciation Day. Now, Lloyd, moment of silence.
Moment of silence.
Now, moment of silence. Let's take a moment of silence.
Everybody.
All right.
Mike Leach would appreciate
Mike Leach,
that.
appreciate you. Appreciate everything you did for college football. Appreciate everything you did for football, right? You kind of were a pioneer, and you were unapologetically
A pirate-near.
Unapologetically yourself, which I appreciate, which Lloyd appreciates, because you have opened an avenue for everybody like Lloyd, who.
I was about to say, well, he made Lloyd think he could just say
whatever the fuck Lloyd wants to say, he can say.
Yeah,
right?
There's consequences.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he was the pirate. There's everybody that you have heard talk about Mike Leach has loved majority of the people have loved Mike Leach, have had unbelievable experiences, funny experiences, quirky experiences. That's kind of how he was. We spoke a little bit about Mike Leach on Monday once we found out that he was in the hospital and in critical condition, and I think that, obviously we kind of all assumed that it was the worst, and then yesterday the worst was confirmed and Mike Leach passed away, unfortunately, and very sad situation. But we're not here to have a depressing show. We are here to celebrate his life and celebrate
The pirate.
the pirate.
I mean, I think he said
I think the greatest thing that happened was not the greatest, but a great tribute, and I think that Mike Leach would very much appreciate, is somebody sneaking into Mississippi State's field and putting a Pirates flag at half-mast. I think that was awesome.
It's the ghost of Mike
Right?
Leach already
Yeah,
at work.
Right, and so...
You don't even get in trouble if you do that, right?
No,
like nobody's.
no. Actually, someone probably applauded him.
Uh-huh.
Whoever did that for doing that. Mason Smith, who was the director of high school and community relations at LSU, and left LSU after O left, and prior to that was the director of recruiting at at Mississippi State. So has a lot of experience with Mike Leach, coaching under Mike Leach in the recruiting realm of college football. And so he's going to come on the show at 7. He's going to give us some of his best Mike Leach stories, talk to us a little bit about recruiting. And, he has some pretty good insight. I don't know how much in depth he's going to be able to go based off of, prior. He'll be able to go in depth with the Mike Leach stuff. As far as LSU stuff.
You're not going to find somebody that has as good of a relationship, probably locally, as somebody like Mason Smith, because he worked in the same office with him for, I think, 2 years.
Someone just deleted all of my stuff.
Oh, that was me.
Oh.
My bad. I was trying to change the camera and I was on the wrong screen. Watch, let me fix it.
Can you please?
There you go.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Took away
all of my notes.
Open book
were
test.
gone.
Never mind.
Oh no, book's gone. Pels lose. Going down the Heineken headlines. Pels lose. Their 7-game losing streak comes to an end. First game on a West Coast road trip. Those are tough. First ones are always hard. And, it's one of those days. They were cold. They couldn't make any three-pointers. They couldn't do anything they wanted to do. Zion stays hot. Zion is still doing what he's doing. Power rankings came out on ESPN. Pelicans are number 3 in all of the NBA. It looks like they are, as of right now, the favorite to win the West. Now, right behind them is Memphis. It's going to be a battle. I would love for them to win the West, host the Western Conference Finals in New Orleans against Ja. You have number 1 pick versus number 2 pick in the Western Conference Finals. I would love that.
I would rather see Phoenix again back.
Yeah,
in the
of course. But it's a great. There's the storylines are there. I enjoy watching both of them play. So that'll be fun. But we're gonna talk a little bit Pels. Like I said, it was the first game on a West Coast road trip. That's a tough one. Travel days are always tough. LSU basketball, if you haven't been paying attention, they are continuing to win. They're 8-1. If you watch them, you may not say that they're the most impressive team. They kind of have a bunch of question marks. They honestly probably should be 9-0. They got shafted out there in Cancun with that. I don't know. Hey, we're just gonna go estimated time.
We're just gonna pack it up. Actually, everybody go home.
You made this. We messed up. It was not your fault. We messed up. But we're just not gonna get it. Actually, you held the ball too long, even though the clock.
Even though you're looking at the clock.
And we're just gonna count it because underestimated time because that makes a lot of sense. You don't think the guy with the ball that was looking at the shot clock or at the game clock realized I don't have 2 extra seconds to get to the hole. I'm probably going to shoot the ball from the 3-point line instead of trying to get to the rim. Probably would have happened. I think it was a bullshit thing. Anyway, they're 8-1. They win this. Yesterday they played North Carolina Central. Won by 10
Powerhouse.
Points. Yeah, I said the schedule hasn't been. They played 2 teams in power conference schools. One Kansas State. That's the one they lost to in Cancun. Neutral site. Thought they should have won. They didn't win. Played Wake Forest. Again, neutral site. They did. Kind of similar endings to both games. They go to Wake Forest. They win. Now, it's not what you think. I thought it was the same thing earlier. I thought he did that last time, but according to him, it is not.
No slap. No free ads, but if you need to wake
Smelling
up.
salt.
Smelling salt.
Yeah. But basketball, look, they have some players. And Adam Miller really hadn't even got going. He scored 1 point with 0 of 8 from the 3-point line last game. So that's 2 games in a row where he was kind of cold. It happens. Everybody goes through some shooting slumps. He's arguably our best scorer, and they're winning without him scoring right now. I think that once he starts doing that, once SEC play starts, he's going to start to ramp up. But they're fun. Obviously, NFL draft talk has been starting to ramp up a little bit. We had a conversation on Monday about Mel Kiper's top 10 quarterbacks. And in that
Todd. Isn't that what he does?
I was like, what? Yeah. I was confused with what you're doing, but yes, that's what exactly he does. It had Jaden Daniels as number 5 on that list. Now you go look at his top 10 quarterbacks. Jaden Daniels is down at number 8. So I don't know.
He got some more information.
I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. But NFL draft talks.
It's hard to drop on your days off.
Yeah, I don't know.
How you get fired on your day off?
Todd McShay came out with his mock draft 1.0 or whatever, and BJ Ojulari I think was number 17 in that draft. Maybe that's a little high, but he was in the first round. Mel Kiper did not have BJ in that. Now, are they considering BJ outside linebacker or defensive end? I think they're considering him an outside linebacker. But I think he's going to play more in the mold of like Micah Parsons.
So it's probably going to be a scheme fit thing.
Yeah, for sure.
There's probably different teams that see him in different spots.
You did it again. Dude.
I know, my bad. I was trying to switch the camera.
Well, let's stop highlighting.
You're low-key doing this to mine, too. I don't really like that, man. Don't do
My
that.
bad.
Well, everybody's
My
sharing
bad.
the same
Everybody
one.
we just pass it around.
Yeah. We have Thursday Night Football. We're going to talk a little gambling.
Take it
I
easy.
know that we had, we haven't talked a lot of gambling. It's because
y'all got to get back into it.
I'm
boys.
getting into it. It's just, football. Listen, I was locked in on my fantasy team. We won. I'm in the playoffs. Now, back to gambling. I still am up. It's because I haven't spent much money, but I'm still up. We're going to talk. It's actually a good Thursday Night Football game. San Francisco versus they're at Seattle. Seattle gets Kenneth Walker back. Thank God. He's on my fantasy team.
Y'all are missing out. Hit a little two-leg parlay. Argentina and France in 90 minutes.
Speaking of, France is in the finals of the World Cup. Is that going on tonight? No. When is that?
When's the World Cup final?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not tonight.
Not tonight.
Not Wednesday night.
Not tonight.
This is
it's in Qatar. I didn't know what time.
Not Thursday night.
I don't know what time it is there either.
I mean,
I'm actually scared to talk about him.
Everything that's happened over there in this World Cup has been kind of a little bit of a mess.
A little dicey.
So it wouldn't shock me if they say, oh, by the way, we're going to go on a Wednesday night. Actually, we're going to go on a third. You know what? Screw it. We're going to do it Sunday. Sunday Night Football is going on, but we're going to have the World Cup.
You're right. Sunday at 9 a.m.
It was in the morning, though.
Yeah.
It's in the morning. Okay, it's a little different.
But even still, that's still cutting it. Well, I guess it's only 180 minutes, so they're not cutting into the NFL.
Right, you're fine.
You're just starting.
I can promise you, with France and Argentina being the two finalists,
The NFL's not going to
the NFL ain't worried about it at all.
They're watching. Yeah, this is
they got their markets. They're not necessarily worried about this.
No doubt.
But real quick, huge match for obviously France defending champions Argentina. Messi looking for his first ever World Cup, and he's missed 2 PKs. So it's a real revenge tour for him.
People were upset about, they thought Argentina was in trouble after the first game of the World Cup, right? In pool play. Mm-hmm. Because they lost. Like, oh, what's going to happen? Well, they now in the finals. I think they're okay. France is a super team, by the way.
Yeah, but
I don't know much about soccer.
With a super team that's still hurt, too.
Yeah, that's what I don't know much about soccer, but I know that France, this back-to-back World Cups are in the finals.
Yes.
So
I just listened to a podcast where they talk about.
I just read a couple.
And apparently
yeah,
they have.
We're totally faking it.
Apparently they have the best player in the world too, and he's like 23.
What's his name?
Kylian Mbappe. I do know.
Oh,
Mbappe.
yeah.
I know Mbappe.
I didn't know he was the best player in the world. I've been knowing the name, but I didn't know he was like that. Yeah. Apparently,
you crushed that name, by the way.
Like that.
You did it
because I'm nice. I'll be watching that shit.
Hey,
flushing the footy.
I sent Jared. Speaking of this isn't the World Cup, but it's about national. I mean, it's about world sports. I know everybody's probably seen it because this happened during the Olympics in 2020. But today, every time I see it, I can't stop laughing. If nobody has watched the Kevin Hart Snoop Dogg narrating
I sent it to him too.
of the highlights, I see it every time I see it about the equestrian.
Hey, hold up, cuz!
I'm belly laughing every time.
Hey, hold up, cuz!
Hey, he's doing the crip walk, cuz. He's doing the crip walk.
Gotta put him in a video.
And then he starts hopping. He goes, oh
shit!
Oh, and then so if you haven't seen it. But anytime world sports, whether it be the World Cup or the Olympics, are on the state of the world stage, I think it's interesting. I think it's fun. We don't, as Americans, put as much stock into the Olympics.
Yeah, we suck.
As most other countries, or the World Cup as most other countries, and I think that's a shame. But I think we're spoiled on the athletes that we see in the different sports that we see. Right, basketball, football, baseball, like all of those sports here in the United States, all of the best athletes play those sports. So some of the other sports aren't really as publicized as they should be.
I wish I did it. Since we're on the topic, I saw a random post on Instagram of some dude ranting about if America cared about soccer the way they do about other sports, and he like listed a lineup of like the dudes that would be on the field. The names it's crazy. Like it's a pretty funny lineup because you're like, damn, what if they all did play soccer all their life?
That's what
it's
SportsCenter did that, right? ESPN did that?
No, it was some random dude. It was some random
because
dude. Like, he came up with,
ESPN did it right before the World Cup, and it said, what would the U.S. soccer team look like if these athletes played? And basically kind of like a slap in the face to the U.S. soccer team, like, oh, so we're not elite athletes? Like, you want all these other guys that never played soccer to go play soccer?
Yeah.
Like, so I understand it. It's tough, but it is what it is. They lost out. They actually had a good run. I think the future of U.S. soccer is going to be good. I don't know why we're talking this long about soccer because I don't know anything about it. What I do want to get down to is we had mentioned Kendall Rogers came out about a week or two ago, and came out with the top 100 college draft prospects in the draft this year. Dylan Cruz is number 1 on his list. He had a bunch of LSU guys in the top 60 picks or so. Another top 100 came out as far as draft prospects go, and it was from Jim Callis, who is the MLB writer for the draft and prospects and teams and all this type of stuff. So in his top 100, he has Dylan Cruz number 1. He has Paul Skeens number 4. So you have the ability to have two guys in the same lineup / rotation, because Paul Skeens does both, and going in the top 5. And on this one, he has Grant Taylor 53, Ty Floyd number 86. I think both those guys have a chance to shoot up. We talked to Grant Taylor last week, I believe. Was it last week?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Last Monday,
I think. We talked to Grant Taylor. His numbers obviously speak for themselves. The way he's been pitching this fall speaks for himself. He's going to go out there, perform very well. I think he has an opportunity to shoot up the draft board. And so same with Ty Floyd, because I think if Ty Floyd's velo is where it's at, continues to progress over what he did towards the end of last year, and his changeup apparently is super nasty. If he keeps throwing that, I think you have a really good shot to have a few first-rounders from LSU's team this year, at least go first supplemental. So that's just to build a little bit of the hype into the baseball season, because I think it's going to be fun. A lot of people have actually had some conversations with me about baseball season, and a lot of people are starting to get excited, which I'm excited for, because anytime the fan base is excited about baseball and there's some hype around it, the atmosphere around the stadium is a whole hell of a lot more fun. So, what are your takes? Now we're gonna get into the show now. What are y'all's feelings? And I think I know them, but I want to ask this to have a conversation. What are y'all's feelings on? You're starting to see a lot of these guys transfer out of LSU, right? Some guys that haven't played. Some guys from your friend at AYS Sports tweeted this today that
Don't do that to
we
me.
have another guy that just left. 16 guys from that number 1 recruiting class in the country, I guess, from 2020, or number 4 recruiting class in the country from 2020, are now gone from LSU, have transferred out. We have a few more offensive linemen announced that they are transferring. I know how I feel about it. How do y'all feel about it? Lloyd, I'm going to go with you first, because you're the one that likes to be a little bit more pessimistic about stuff, but I think that you're on my same page. And then I want to go to Jared, who's got more experience in a college football locker room than everybody in here combined.
Yes, that is absolutely true. I have zero experience in the college football locker room, aside from the time I snuck on the field at LSU after the game. This wasn't a rush the field scenario. It was we were topping the fence scenario.
You and your boy,
Tyler, sponsor.
No, the other guy.
Cole.
Nope, the guy that got tackled today that was on the field like this.
Oh, Marwan.
Yeah, that's his name, Marwan. That guy.
Marwan, the GOAT. But
that's it.
So whenever we had to go off the field, we went through the Jeff Boss, went through the locker room. That was the only way to get back, and nobody stopped us at all, which is shocking. But that's my only experience in the locker room. But when you talk about what LSU is doing right now and losing a couple of, maybe more than you thought in the transfer portal, or maybe not, but what I think is happening is you're seeing the impact of how the recruiting is playing out on the offensive line for sure, where you're probably going to see, where it's the first name that comes to mind that's not in the portal yet is Cardell Thomas. Like, it feels like at some point he's probably going.
Yeah, what happened to him?
He got hurt and he never was able to really recover. Like, it was one of those weird injuries that was just, he kind of worst, like a bad injury for the position that he played.
Right.
So he kind of was in a no-win situation, but he loves LSU so much, he's still here. Regardless, LSU continues to bring in a ton of talent on the offensive line, so that's why you see that happening. And I think it's kind of the scenario I laid out that I thought Bama was going through, where we're bringing in talent, so I'm going to give you the peace of mind to say, look, it's probably better if you go somewhere else because we got other guys coming in. Aaron Anderson now being at the top of that list, along with Denver Harris. So they were supposed to meet today.
Who?
Denver Harris and Brian Kelly.
I thought they already met.
No, it's today. So we will see, obviously, how that meeting went. If you hear no news, I guess it didn't go great. But if you hear good news, you're probably
I thought we had the conversation on Monday that Denver Harris already had meetings with the coaching staff.
I thought that was Rick's. Not Rick's.
No, that was an in-home visit with Rick.
Oh, Toviano too.
And Toviano.
That's
yes,
right.
So
Okay.
this is Denver Harris, obviously the transfer from.
I know who he is.
Yeah, Texas A&M. And I don't know if Mason Smith can help us with this because I know he did a little bit of, work for A&M maybe. So I don't know how much he knows on the Denver Harris front, but he also probably helped recruit him to LSU at some point. So that's where kind of I'm at. Like if the Denver Harris meeting went well, which I would imagine it did, it was just kind of let's make sure we're aligned on what we want to see happen for LSU football. Then you have Denver Harris. Toviano pops tomorrow to see where he goes. And
That's a big one.
A huge one. Just because of the lack of depth at defensive back, he's going to be a day one player. So would Denver Harris. So would Desmond Ricks. Ricks goes on a visit to Alabama. The last in-home, I believe, is later this week. His last official visit is to LSU.
Right.
He makes his
in January.
decision.
No.
It's this weekend.
It's coming in this. So he's going to Alabama when?
He already went.
Okay, so
He's been to Florida, Alabama,
he's
and
done.
now LSU is the last one.
The last one's always the one you want to be.
Exactly.
Unless he cancels the rest. You know what I mean? Like, he's not going to cancel LSU's, but, like, some guys will go and have their list of 5 visits, and, hey, you're going to be my last, and, like, all right, this is good. We're going to have the last impression. And then he goes somewhere and, like, you know what? I'm not going to go anywhere else. He's obviously not doing that.
I believe that just happened with DJ Chester.
Who's that?
An offensive lineman.
You're going to have to just help me sometimes. There's a lot going on. Listen,
offensive
you're on the power hour.
Yeah, I know.
So-
And so I have to learn it, even though people are upset about the power hour. That's a whole different show and just conversation.
We're not getting into that.
It was so murky over there. It's my fault. But DJ Chester, offensive lineman out of Georgia, he had a visit, I believe, scheduled to visit Florida State, if I'm not mistaken. Canceled it after he committed to LSU. So you would think that's a good sign.
I would imagine that's
After
a good
the
sign.
in-home, he had canceled his next official visit.
What do you feel?
I'm gonna need you to run that question back to me one more time because that was a very long-winded answer, and I kind of got lost in translation.
So basically,
what the question was.
all I said was, so you have people
No offense to you,
transferring.
Lloyd.
Obviously,
we like more information.
Obviously, people are transferring.
Yeah.
Right. Like that. We knew that was going to happen, but there's been a specific exodus of some of the offensive line backup offensive linemen. Right. Guys who have lost their position earlier in the year, or guys who just haven't really gotten in there. Right. The latest is Marcus Dumerville is transferring. He makes his announcement. He's going to the portal. My question was, what are your feelings on these guys leaving? And is it something that you feel like, and I think that we're all on the same page as far as like what we feel, but we need something to talk about, so let's talk about it.
I mean, I would be on pretty much the same page as him. Like I would imagine that if a lot of a position group is leaving, that there is some pretty strong verbal commitments
or / portal guys.
Verbal commitments.
Yeah, right.
Either way.
I forgot
whether it's high school or
you're right.
I'm hoping that I'm personally hoping that it's not high school guys in the sense of I would like to not have our eldest statesmen or like the most experienced guys be true sophomores next year. So I'm hoping that it's guys that have some time played somewhere else and they can kind of come in and kind of fit seamlessly, but I would imagine it's because they have some strong verbal commitments from some other people.
Yeah.
And,
ideally, I'm with you. Ideally, you fit in with some veteran guys on the offensive line. You have your bookends, maybe. I know there's some talk. I know Emory Jones played guard at Catholic High.
Right.
I know that he played right tackle. He did a good job of playing right tackle. I don't know if they want to move him back to guard or keep them at tackle, but if you bring in some of these freshman guys,
Zalance Hurd just got his 5th star.
Right, you got Zalance Hurd, a 5-star, and you have another guy. If you bring in now, they're freshmen. They're now if they come in, they do like what Will Campbell and stuff did. Obviously, that's ideal, but that's hard to do.
So, and here's my take on this. I mean, do y'all? And this could be my opinion only. I don't really know, right? Do y'all have an opinion as to why people pointed year 3 as quote unquote the year?
I wouldn't imagine that it's because I believe every coach at LSU has won a national championship in their third year at LSU.
You're talking about year 3 of what?
Like when it's supposed to be like, hey, all right, this team is
Walker Howard, the way the whole class.
I think it's just just to have more time for experience.
That's what I'm saying. Like I think it's the same thing. So my reason for saying that is like the more seemingly you input freshmen into every down starters, I think the closer you are to having what happened at Texas A&M this year happen.
Right. Too many young guys playing.
It's too hard. Dude.
Yeah, no doubt.
Especially in this league.
No doubt.
I don't care how talented they are. Like it takes time.
Yeah.
So for me, like knowing that we had a decent number, I won't say a decent number of freshmen, not nothing crazy. Like we had some guys out there and they did well. A lot of transfer guys. I think it would fit this team better, even though there is some young kids that's going to come in, obviously.
Yeah, to play the veteran guys.
But it would fit this team better if they're able to kind of plug some of these holes with some veteran guys, while these young kids could kind of start to mix in and kind of like work their way into this thing. You know?
Can you pull up the depth chart of the offensive line right now? But I'm with you. Like I think that you have the young guys on the end. You want to fill the rest of the positions offensive line now. Obviously the guys that are still coming back, but you want to be able to fill that with veteran, talented guys, and if a freshman comes in and ends up being the best guy, best case scenario, because now you have this kid like Will Campbell to come in. But if not, you have a year to get stronger and understand.
You're 100% right, and I just think and I think they know this. I would they've been doing this a lot longer than I've been thinking about it or talking about it, right? But I would imagine that if you're banking on and booking on Will and Emory to be the leaders and the elder statesmen and the ones that's got the most amount of experience, we might be looking at a tough year next year. There's a good chance of that, right?
Right.
Like I would think they would be hoping that they can bring in, whether he's as talented or less talented, that they can bring in someone who could cohesively fit in and have experience and kind of help continue to bring those guys along.
Yeah, I mean LSU came out with the football awards, so they had their end of the year meeting, end of the year what is it called, like a
banquet.
Soiree. That's
a banquet. Yeah, nice little banquet.
Little banquet. I'm sure.
Nice little dais up there.
You beat me to it. Woo! You beat me to it. I was like, I'm sure Brian Kelly was on the dais. He looked good on the dais. The first time I ever heard dais, who do you think told it to us?
I have no clue.
Paul Maneri.
You know what I did?
Yeah,
you want to know what I did the first time I heard it?
Fell asleep.
No, I don't know who was next to me. I went, hey, bro.
What the fuck is a dais?
What is a dais?
Who's coming?
Podium! Oh, it's my bad, coach.
Yeah, I didn't know it. And then he goes, you know what a dais is? And we're like, and of course, Bo raised his hand. Yeah, coach, it's a stage, like podium stage. He's like, yeah, Bo, that's very good. And we're like, I have no
my new
idea
favorite
what
player.
that is.
Yeah, never heard
whatever.
that.
But they had their
Dude, you don't want your team to know what a dais is.
They had their banquet, and they came out with some awards, and you're talking about offensive lineman, Will Campbell, all this stuff, right? Jaden Daniels got most valuable player of the team. There's a bunch of them. I don't really want to go through all of them.
Was that
defensive player of the year was Harold Perkins. Offensive player of the year Josh Williams got that award.
I saw some award pictures. Was that banquet during the day, or was it at night?
I don't know.
It was that night.
Was it? Weird.
Lineman.
No.
Oh, was y'all's during the day?
No.
I'm confused.
I just saw some pictures from it. It seemed like it was during the day, but I could be wrong.
I don't know where you're going with this. Maybe this is an off-air conversation. Okay.
No.
Lineman of the year was Will Campbell. Will Campbell got the lineman of the year as a true freshman. True freshman left tackle, started from day one. That's unbelievable to me. Very rare to me. But you go all the way down. Scout team awards.
I like that.
Walker Howard, Scout Team Award.
There you go.
Got it as a quarterback.
Hey, setting the stage.
Setting the stage.
Setting the stage.
Hey, you gotta go get
Just so y'all know.
He's coming. Setting the stage. I like it.
Most improved. Charles Turner, center.
Nice.
It's huge. Did you pull up the?
Yep, I got it right here.
I was trying to
filibuster.
Yep. Did I do a good job for you?
Yeah.
Newcomer of the year, Greg Brooks. I think I agree with that one for sure.
I like that one too.
There you go.
There we go. Okay. Whoa. Okay. So
you have Will Campbell.
All the ones highlighted are starters or coming back or what?
They were award winners. No, I'm kidding.
I don't know what that. I don't.
I'm kidding.
It doesn't matter. Okay. So you have Will Campbell, Miles Frazier is the transfer that came over from FAU, I think, or is it IU? One of the IUs.
Gold is new addition, graduate transfers, and freshmen.
Okay, so You have those two guys. I'd imagine Miles Frazier's coming back, right? He was a sophomore. He's coming back. You have Charles Turner, who's a redshirt junior. He has the ability to come back. I'd imagine he's probably going to come back. You have Anthony Bradford, who's a redshirt junior. I'd imagine he's going to come back. And you have Emory Jones, who is a freshman, who he has to come back. So the whole point, the reason why I wanted you to bring it to this is kind of what I thought.
Garrett Dellinger.
And you have Garrett Dellinger, who was really good. He just was kind of banged up in and out of the year. He's still on the roster. Marlon Martinez got some. So we have a lot of experience, though. He's got some play. We have a lot of experience. You have a lot of guys that have played. Now you have a whole nother year with your starting offensive line. Really, your top 6 offensive linemen are back.
And you're adding 3.
And then you're going to add some more talented freshmen. Plus, I'd imagine that they're probably going to add maybe 1 or 2 transfers that may be an upgrade of who they have now. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk of should LSU add a center to help with.
Why'd you say it like that?
Center.
Why would they add a center?
Center. I don't know.
That's weird. That's okay.
That's okay. I think I'll manage.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm under the impression that what Charles Turner did whenever he was inserted at center, whenever they tried to give Garrett Dellinger some run there, you saw it at Florida State where Jane Daniels was having to do a lot of having to help.
Yeah, you can't use that though.
No, I know it, but I think it would. I just went back and watched the game, and it's a lot of like late in the play clock. They're trying to do.
A lot of people needed help.
Yeah,
I know. That's what I'm saying. But what I was going to do was compliment Charles Turner because when he got inserted into the game, they complimented his ability to help identify with the offensive line, do like protections and such. So it took a little bit off Jane Daniels' plate, who was being force fed. I mean, so much food. It was a mukbang of how much can I learn.
What?
Y'all never heard of that?
A mukbang?
Yeah.
Never heard
Truthfully, I've heard of it. I'm just very surprised you used it right now.
Yeah, it's when you eat a lot of food at once.
We need
Very
a nice board up here every day that has
should.
Lloydisms.
Yeah.
Like we need that up here.
Lloyd's word of the day.
Yeah, mukbang.
This would be a nice sponsor thing.
There we go. There's another segment. There's you get
By
one.
Webster.
Your segment. Someone
Let's get a
should sponsor you.
dictionary. I'll get
Maybe your boy
with
Tyler.
I'll get with Big Dictionary.
Jesus, he just couldn't do. I know you got a journal somewhere. I know you do. You got a super bad.
Oh, Makai Wingo got the Alvin Roy Award. He gets his poster.
Girthy, veiny.
Big
That's why I'm trying to change the subject of what's happening.
Could you imagine if that happened?
I don't want.
Why would you have a lunchbox?
I don't want to imagine. Yeah, I just know
happen.
you got one.
Finish your thought.
Oh, I just thought that I'm of the impression that I don't think we need to add another center just because I like the way that Charles Turner was able to help with his intellect and be able to take some off Jane Daniels' plate. Another year of them two together. It seems like a perfect match, but I've just heard some things that the portal could be.
Well, you also want to have the ability to have 2 guys that can play center.
Yeah.
Right? So
Well, I think Dellinger maybe is probably that guy if you give him another year.
yeah,
If they have
maybe,
to do it.
If they have to, but like if maybe they like Dellinger at guard more.
I
right?
think Dellinger at guard.
Yeah,
more.
maybe that's the position that they think that he's the best at. So let's keep him there and have another guy at center just in case. Or, I don't know, Brad. I mean, you have 2 guard positions that you have Anthony Bradford and Charles Turner was the center, right? So to say Dellinger moves to guard, you have Charles Turner at center. You still have another guard position or tackle position, whatever you're going to do with Emory Jones. I don't know how y'all feel about Bradford. I think that he's had some moments, some good and bad moments. I'm sure there's not a lot of people watching our show or listening to our show right now that studies the offensive line game in and game out. I'm just going based off of what I've seen in my average football intelligence.
Yeah, it's not the sexiest thing to watch. The only time I've ever
But it's
watched
one of the most important position
it
groups on the
is.
field.
I feel bad for him because it's, I don't know. The only time you talk about him when something bad happened, it's like being a producer.
Yeah, right.
I feel like the only people that grade offensive linemen individually are people that are looking to acquire them. I feel like when you're watching it in another way, you're looking at it as a unit. That's what I kind of feel like about offensive line.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah, it's not individual. You're just going like the 5.
Yeah, like if I need a left tackle, like I'm not looking at the unit, I'm looking at him. But if I'm watching LSU and I'm an LSU fan, I'm not watching individual linemen. I'm wondering if my O-line is doing what they need to do to, so we can move the ball up and down the field.
I'm with you. I mean, I get it. But, we're not going to lose a lot of guys from that spot, from that group, and I think that's going to make everything. That's going to make everything better offensively next year. But we have some guys that are transferring. We have a couple guys that are in the draft, and it's mock draft season. There's 2 mock draft seasons. 1 before the actual NFL draft. 2 before the fantasy football draft.
I was about to say that because they're used by 2 different types of people too.
Yeah, right.
The civilian mock draft season is in July.
It's in July. It starts in late July.
The professional mock draft season is now.
December, right? If you have an early mock, you have an early hey, this is too early to tell before the season starts. Prospects. Okay, after the season, now the mock drafts start. Mel Kiper came out, like I said before the show. We had a conversation on Monday about Mel Kiper's top 10 quarterbacks, and in the top 10 was number 5 was Jaden Daniels. Then I don't know if he woke up or something happened or I don't know what happened, but then he drops another 2023 top 10 draft class, and now Jaden Daniels is 8.
It's like those tornadoes that passed through Louisiana hit us.
Hey boy, those things. New Iberia got crushed.
They did. They got hit hard. Yeah. Hopefully,
Baton Rouge seemed like we avoided it, but
it rained hard
for like a spurt for a very little amount of time.
We didn't get as much as I thought.
It was all while I was walking into F45.
You worked out my wife today, she said.
I did work out your wife today.
Worked out with my wife today, okay? Are we gonna have the whole Peter Burns
oh my.
I'm just joking. Put
the phone down.
I was joking.
Be gone off the set after the break. No, she did. She popped in late, which you said she does all the time. It was like 12.
Oh yeah, she 10. Did she make it to the? Did she already miss some of the workout, or did she make it right before the workout started?
She missed the first set of the workout. But
we
worked out together. Embarrassing performance by me because I was just not.
How was it? I didn't work out today.
I was sure I didn't. It was a good Wednesday cardio day. Tough.
Yeah, I know. That's why I wish I was.
Coach.
She gets after it. She changes the whole workout.
Yeah,
maybe not on Wednesdays.
No, she did. She does her own thing. I don't. She might as well just go in the garage. I was because she was in front of me. I was like, wait, what are you doing? Because I was looking to see what the next movement is or whatever, and I was like, she was doing something totally different, doing abs when people are doing legs.
Good job, Allie. Where you go?
Yeah, that's what she does. That's her move.
Didn't help me at all.
My whole world.
But it was tough today, Coach. 60. We did.
I wish
40, 10-second change, then 55 seconds, and it's like I'm done. I'm retiring.
Not enough rest time.
Not enough rest time, and then too long to go 60 seconds the first time.
I think next week I'm gonna have some 8:30 workals. Because I think next week's going to be a little
schedule
light.
fits it?
It's going to be a little light on the schedule.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Next week.
So,
that's good.
Sign up for F45. Get you a free trial.
This is Lloyd's sponsor.
It is. Thank you very much. I feel like it has gotten me in actually good shape. I felt a little doughy. Now I feel a little tight. A little better about myself.
I'm not saying you have to lose pounds, but
just tighten it. Get on the scale. And
it's not about the scale. It's not about the scale. Just tone it up.
Just tighten. Step on the scale. Whatever you see, just subtract 10.
Get on the scale. Get off the scale. You are.
Step on the scale. Step off the scale. Turn the cameras off. Lunch is canceled.
Due to lack of hustle. But I was going to say, obviously a lot of people start to work out January 1st. You feel like a piece of shit. And you're like, oh, man, you know what I should do? Exercise. If you feel like that, go to F45. It really does make you kind of move around.
I don't know.
Because you're caught up in the queue. You can't really slack.
Right.
Because people are around and it's embarrassing like I did today.
Right. And it's kind of a social deal.
Don't
and
scare the people off.
Good vibes.
No, I'm just embarrassed by my performance.
I would imagine, I don't know this, I would imagine F45 is probably going to have some Christmas specials or something going into the new year where you can to entice more people to sign up. But great workout. Glad you had a good workout.
A terrible workout.
Let's get into what you got. You got through it.
Yeah,
you got through it.
Threw up when I got home.
So Will Levis is the guy, huh?
Doesn't miss a day
in the draft.
So they say.
Doesn't miss a day. Throws up every time.
So they say he's the guy.
That's what they say.
I don't believe in the Will Levis.
The draft analysis that I was getting that I just read from Mel Kiper is he has Will Levis comparable to Matt Stafford.
Why would you not?
Why?
That's what he's
Matt
saying.
Stafford was successful in college. They had good teams.
Yeah, and they're blaming the guys around him. Well, I mean, isn't your quarterback supposed to elevate the play of everybody else? So listen, I get it. Will Levis has the measurables. He's got the arm strength. He may have, he may be very intelligent.
I've also heard him say too. They're like, man, he's that, and I've also heard him be like, but man, we just don't want him to turn out like Carson Wentz too.
That's who I think his comp is. he looks like a Carson Wentz, where he's super like.
Hey, he walks in the building, he's probably
prototype.
super impressive. You see him throw a ball, and you're like,
Damn.
oh my god. I just don't know if he knows if all that equals W's. Yeah, you see him. He's right here. Huh?
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll get you a
Big
good look.
MJ guy.
Get you a good
I was trying to
God,
see
I
that
can't
hoodie.
how I get this thing out of the camera. Ah, there we go. Yeah, you
I
see
like
it.
that.
Yeah. You
I
see
like
it.
that.
You see it.
Well, if I couldn't tell because like it was the angle I was at. I just saw EION. And I was like, damn, did you already get a Deion Sanders thing, a hoodie from Colorado?
because
Because it was black and white.
Colorado
I mean, it was gold and black. I was like, damn, because it was like the way it was, the EI. I was like, is there a D in there? No D.
That would be kind of cool. I
That'd
kind
be
of need to
sick.
get one of those.
Oh,
I
you
think I'm
should.
a Buffalo's fan right now.
I am too. I want to go to a game.
Bro, do you see Travis Hunter already?
He's gone.
Well, he hasn't officially entered the portal or like committed to Colorado, but he commented on the original video that
There's some
Deion.
printing going on.
I don't know who did that, but like the video that went viral of Deion talking about transfers and like talking about like being a little bit more strict than what they're doing
Yep.
right now, and Travis Hunter's like, yeah, that's not gonna fly next year, coach. So obviously, I mean, that's the telltale sign.
Yeah, right.
but
He's gone. I mean,
I'm not shocked.
I think everybody knew once he took the job that was the number one guy coming with him.
Well, and that was
That was number 2 behind his son. Obviously.
Yeah, right. And here's the deal: is he
Shador,
is he
stand
gonna?
up.
He's not.
That's your quarterback.
He's not gonna be able to play both, huh? Both sides of the ball over there, huh?
Yeah,
You think he's gonna do?
Absolutely. That's why Deion's like enamored with him. He's like, he's me.
I mean, Deion didn't play much receiver.
He played enough.
Did he
but
play a lot? Did he?
Yeah.
At Florida State, he played receiver.
Mm-hmm. Played. Yeah.
Like 3 plays in a row?
Not like he played more than Ron Perlew did.
I'm never letting you live that down.
I still think I'm right, which is
I'm gonna bring this
bizarre.
up. I'm never letting you live it. I don't care. I don't care.
I don't care. But when you talk about the Will Levis thing, like, why would
Yeah.
you not just take the easy? I mean, Bryce Young is the easy.
He's going number one overall.
Yeah, but the Will Levis talk.
I
is
just don't. I don't
There's a
understand
difference
how
between
we've.
prospects and actual where you can get drafted.
I don't understand how we've gone this far. Actually, I do, but I just don't agree with it. We've gone this long of drafts and recruiting and evaluating, and we just haven't really put aside, especially in this sport at that position. That, man, I get it. It may look like this, but like you got to actually be able to play the position too.
No doubt.
Right, and like that's been like so overlooked when we come to that. But you know what it is? I mean, it's like it is in every other sport. It's the man. He's so talented. We'd look real stupid if this guy falls and becomes a superstar. When a lot of that is due with that. Not everyone's Joe Burrow walking into a terrible situation and completely changing the face of the thing.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Listen, he's very talented, and maybe he's the guy. Who knows? I think Bryce Young deserves to go 1 overall based off everything he's done and what everybody knows about him. You know, take the measurables out. I think NFL quarterbacks have now shown the way the NFL is being played that size isn't
I
the end all be all anymore.
I'm understanding now why they're talking about Bryce, or the question mark on Bryce is what it is. It's not so much size and how it plays. They're like strictly worried about durability.
Yeah, right. Getting
That's all.
hit. Yeah, no, I get that. I understand that part. Like,
Because he's
thickness,
not built like
thickness. Like
he's
kinda
not built like Kyler Murray is at that size.
Yeah.
Like he's not. He's
Yeah.
frail-ish, if you will.
Yeah, and you got C.J. Stroud. Now, I think the most intriguing prospect in the draft, quarterback-wise, is Anthony Richardson. He's projected to go in the first round by all these. Everybody's saying
Like
he's
high
gonna
first
get,
round too.
Yeah, like
Like
17th is the
15.
highest I've seen him. But
I've
like,
seen it.
look,
I've seen him like at like 11.
no, but like as far highest as far as
Oh,
like
okay,
back
yeah,
into the
yeah,
first
yeah,
round,
okay, like highest number.
nothing after 20.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously his numbers aren't that impressive at Florida, but I think his talent is impressive, and we'll see. I mean, he's gonna look. All these guys in the NFL think that they can coach somebody up if they have that talent. So
And it only takes one. I mean, you saw it with Tim Tebow, where it only took Josh McDaniel to be like, I think I can get a winner out of him. And they did win a playoff game.
Yeah, they did.
in
On
Denver.
the,
beat
on the
somebody they had no
unbelievable
business beating.
overtime
Ike Taylor.
to Demaryius Thomas, RIP.
RIP.
RIP. But whole reason why I want to talk about the obviously Jaden's 8th, I think that makes it more realistic for him coming back to LSU. You know, as an 8th rated quarterback, unless something happens and it shoots up or he gets a different draft. You're gonna ask a question about that?
No, I just think a lot of why he's ranked, if you consider 8th high, it's because look at the quarterbacks he just went through. It's a light It's a light class, so of course he's going to get ranked a little bit higher than maybe he should. But he's in a little bit of a tough spot to where, damn, okay, I'm ranked here, but I don't see how many people are going to take quarterbacks in the NFL if I'm ranked 8th. Like, I don't know what that projects to, essentially. Or do I come back in a class that's probably a little bit better?
Well, and that's what
year?
I was looking at. Drake May, or is it?
Well, he's just going to be a sophomore next year.
Redshirt sophomore.
Redshirt sophomore? Oh.
That's what I
Drake
looked
May,
up.
Caleb Williams.
You see this class as a light quarterback class?
I just don't feel like it's as talented from top to bottom as you would normally have, where when you start talking about your Will Levises and your Anthony Richardsons, I don't see them projecting to be starters in the NFL when you look up 5 years from now. It's like
you don't think so?
No. I mean, they'll play, but I don't think they're game changers. People take quarterbacks far too early.
I know,
in the
but
NFL,
I mean,
in my
as
mind.
far as talent, I think as
it
far
has
as
to be
talent,
the right spot.
I think it's
they
Coaching
are
matters
very
so
much
much.
so
they're
talented.
I think
enough
I think it's like super top heavy, and then you got a bunch of wild cards, but like could easily boom.
Well,
Like,
here's the
easily
deal.
boom.
I think a kid, it's gonna be. I think the kid from Fresno State has a chance to be good, right? Like he's late. He's not like gonna be a first rounder, but like they'll draft him in the 6th round probably, and he has a chance to maybe make a roster and do kind of like what a Mike White, like get an opportunity and play well. Like those guys like that always end up. They're not the most talented or the most impressive coming out, but those guys seem like.
Look at Brock Purdy.
That's my point. Like someone like that. Someone like that.
And that's kind of what my larger point was, is it's all about fit for these guys. Like you're taking chances on quarterbacks that maybe in the perfect situation it works out, but if you're relying on them for strictly like this guy's going to come in and change the franchise, like you saw it with Zach Wilson, like bad situation.
Hey, he made it back up
early.
to the backup spot. He's a backup.
is he finally
quarterback.
dressing
he's
again?
He's back up. He's a backup.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even think that Zach Wilson situation is a bad situation.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like they took a shot on somebody that you looked at on pro day that popped, and it's like, bro.
Well, he had a great year. The year
He
before,
did. I know.
too.
That's
He
what I'm
did.
saying. But it just doesn't
Great year,
always.
great pro day. I think guys like look, don't get me wrong. I think that if there was a system right now that you could draw up offensively
Yep.
to go into, I think you'd be hard pressed to put San Francisco below like 3, right? But
They may be number 1, to be honest.
no.
Quarterback
I'm just
friendly
saying.
system,
yeah,
yeah.
if you want to argue someone else, there's probably an argument out there for it. I'm just saying I don't think you could put him below 3. Like there's nobody like you. I think it'd be hard pressed to find that. But the Brock Purdy situation to me is literally the guy was. I think he was a 4-year starter. Mm-hmm. He's played so much football.
There was 2 years ago where Brock Purdy was supposed to be preseason before college, like before the draft, first rounder. Right? So like he's the talent. People have seen the talent.
And he's played so much football in a decently pass happy offense. Like
Right.
I'm not super surprised you get somebody with that kind of experience mixed with a Shanahan in that offense, and out the gates
he
they
looks
look
great.
the part.
Yeah, no
Especially
doubt.
if he didn't just shit his time off while he's not playing,
doubt.
not as a starter.
I mean, you
Mr.
saw
Irrelevant.
right, Mr. They made sure they say that a lot on
It's
the
unbelievable. How
every
much they
year,
mention
everybody
it.
gets it.
But-
It's terrible.
He got a jersey.
you should see like the way the
He's
locker
drafted.
Yeah, he got drafted.
Like, I feel like free agents get more love than like Mr.
Yeah.
Irrelevant. It's crazy
Right.
what they do to that.
I
pick.
know.
It's like they're trying to make fun of you,
Like what?
bro. I'm about to have a time.
It's
tonight.
just a good storyline thing.
Yeah.
But if you looked at the way the team responded to him and like after the game and how he did, now obviously he deserved that because of how well he played. But you could tell the guys when he was there, like had no doubt that he was going to be able to kind of do what he did, right? So I think that was cool to see. But I want to go down, and I want to talk about the other guy that was in Mel Kiper's top 10 of lists, and that's B.J. Ojulari, and he was 7th in outside linebackers, which I think is a little low, right? Again, outside linebacker, defensive end. Number 1 on the outside linebacker list is Will Anderson. Obviously, that's speaks for
down
itself.
year.
Whatever, down year with 10 sacks and 25 tackles
Tackles
for
for
loss.
loss. Terrible year.
Yeah. But the guy that's number 2 on that list is what
I feel like I just watched him play and I didn't hear a thing about him. I didn't even know he was the guy.
is what I really want to talk about. So
I need some information on him.
the next guy on that list, his name is Andre Carter II, right? And you probably haven't heard of him because he goes to Army.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service at Army. At
Football.
Army. Yes. He is 6'7", 250 pounds.
So he's probably not related to Dwayne Carter.
Dwayne Michael Carter.
Yeah, probably not.
No, I don't think so. But he is projected.
I don't know, Lil Wayne came out of prison.
Yeah, but he was not
A little different body type. Maybe 5'7". But he is projected to go in the first round, right? Here are these stats. Army has not had a first round pick. When do you think the last first round pick at Army came out?
I'm gonna go with ever.
No, 1939. Right when Army and Navy and all of like those schools were like the top schools to go play football at. Right, 1939. They have not had a.
I'm not trying to be funny, but maybe. Isn't that
That's
World War II?
That's
World War
wartime.
II?
Yeah.
That's right before wartime.
Like before 1 or 2 or
That's
Before
one.
2.
before 2?
Right? No, that's 2. You're right.
2.
thought it was
44,
2.
45 is
Yeah, because
when
Pearl
2
Harbor
ended.
was what 41.
Uh-huh.
That was right
wrong,
before.
people, if I'm wrong and there's people that's listening there like this mother.
That was right before. That was right before the United States got.
What's his
into
name?
World War
If
II.
old boy's in the chat right now, he ain't happy with me right now.
Who?
You know the guy that was just wearing me out in the chat. The
Oh,
one that
yeah.
left the chat that day.
He was on my team. 1939 to 1945 was World War II.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah.
So 1939
I seen Pearl Harbor.
is when he got in there, right? Or when the first.
So this guy a draft dodger?
Yeah. This is the first time. So they
Did
haven't
you
had.
just say he's been in school since?
No, they haven't
1939?
had a first rounder since 1939. They haven't had a non-7th round draft pick, so they haven't had a guy picking prior
Higher.
to the 7th round since 1969.
Well, where did Avatar come from?
This guy's gonna be a first rounder. I mean, he's definitely gonna beat the 7th round pick. He's first, second round. He's projected. He's number 2 outside linebacker. He's a monster. Good for him. Shout out to him. BJ's
6'7".
6'7", 250.
Oh man,
That's a defensive end size.
that's a problem in a 3-4.
Yeah.
Oh my
yeah.
god.
But BJ's 7th. He's also projected first round in Todd McShay's mock draft. I don't know.
Fucking Tex Coulter.
Who?
First round pick from Army. That's who it was. You don't think that guy was a problem?
That was his name.
Uh-huh.
Big
Well,
Tex?
you were looking for that, huh?
Oh, yeah, had to find out.
You
who
think
I'm
his
talking
nickname is
about.
Big Tex? It
Big
had to
Tex.
be.
Big Tex.
There's no way no one called him
This
that.
man invented dip.
Oh, these are the on 3
He
awards.
definitely had a bowling shirt or two.
Tex Coulter.
Big Tex.
Center, tackle, and end.
He played all 3.
Played all 3.
Boy, he wasn't playing around.
And you played rugby.
God,
I think he just likes violence.
He just did it. He loved
very
it.
rough.
The 3-star tight end committed. I think that was inevitable after all this stuff happened.
That's what you saw with the Cole Taylor leaving. It felt like that's what I'm saying when LSU is letting kind of these guys know that, hey, we're bringing somebody in. And obviously Cincinnati ties with Mike Denbrock. He goes there, and Hunter Fournette in the chat was saying that's also a center that LSU is looking at to be able to bring in the same center at Cincinnati. So Denbrock, obviously they're losing their coach as he moves to where's he going?
Wisconsin. Fickle is going to Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. Yes, thank you. So
welcome back, Jackie
Welcome
Boy.
back, Jackie Boy. Congratulations on the finals.
Congratulations on the finals. I'm glad you're healthy and not sick anymore and not getting everybody.
He couldn't have
Were you
played
taking a
sick-
final Saturday night?
It was Saturday afternoon,
Oh, that's what happened.
12:30 to 2:30.
That's
Yeah,
why
what happened
That's
after
why my
2:30?
hotline was blinging.
Yeah. What you boys doing? Bro, it's 2:30 in the afternoon.
What you mean, son? I'm at the crib. What you mean?
But congratulations on passing. This man's taking thermodynamics, so it's not an
I don't
easy.
even-
This ain't the same thing as me graduating college when I was in sports admin and didn't go a day. I was like, damn, test today?
We had a
System.
system. Didn't work.
We tried.
We tried.
Great
tried.
system, though.
We tried hard. We got close.
It's a good semester. Man.
We got close. Is Mason in there?
Oh, 6:52. God, that went by quick, huh?
No.
How did we get to
Not in
6:50
there.
already?
You said 7, right? He
I said
DM'd me.
6:50 to 7, huh?
He DM'd me
That's
on
fine.
Instagram.
7's fine.
So he's good. And he's
How's
already
your-
joined. Great call by him. He obviously knew something was wrong with his setup.
Oh, with the computer.
Mhm.
Yeah, good move by him.
But like I was saying,
Yeah, tell me what you were saying.
What were you saying?
with LSU getting a tight end commit, 3-star, obviously Cole Taylor walks, and now you see them going after center. It feels like LSU has been, at least you feel like you're doing the portal the right way, where you're giving people a heads up of, look, we're bringing somebody in that we feel like might be taking reps away from you. So
I mean, you're the guy that has all the recruiting info.
No, that is Shay.
So I know, but you have a show with Shay every Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like you to give us some more insight on this stuff.
Being stingy with the insight, man.
Yeah, what are you doing?
I just told you what I know.
Feed the people, man.
Speaking of recruiting, Mason Smith is now here.
Okay, let's take a break.
We'll take a break.
He was already here.
Let's take a one.
He only played one game this year.
Let's take a 1 minute break.
Single A Mason.
You're watching Mik'd Up, brought to you by Sterling Automotive. We can get Mason set up. Today's show is brought to you by Dos Equis. Here in Louisiana, we like to have a great time. If you're looking to be the life of the tailgate, check out Dos Equis mini kegs. Hold 16 beers, easy to tap, easy to pour, easy to chill. Check it out. Become a life of the party. You're welcome. Hey y'all, it's Mikey from Mik'd Up. I want to talk a little bit about my friends down at Sterling Automotive in Lafayette. They're locally owned and operated for over 25 years. They have 13 locations, 4 in Opelousas, 5 in Lafayette, 1 in Broussard, 2 in Jennings, 1 in Crowley. They sell any type of car you could possibly find. Buicks, GMC, Ford, Lincoln, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Hyundai, Genesis, and Kia, along with 5 pre-owned locations. They have over 1,500 cars in inventory on site. Unbelievable service, unbelievable people. If you're like me and you're on the go, they can sell and they can ship you cars up to 200 miles. Unbelievably convenient. Again, my friends down at Sterling Automotive in Lafayette, go to their website at saveatsterling.com. Awesome people, go check them out. Welcome back to Mik'd Up. We are brought to you by Sterling Automotive. We led the show off with Mike Leach Appreciation Day. We're going to celebrate the life of Mike Leach. It was a very entertaining life. It was a very quirky life. It was a very...
Burn bright.
He was unapologetically himself, and that's something that a lot of people can't say. Our next guest is our friend of the show.
Also unapologetically
himself. He was formerly the LSU Director of High School and Community Relations, and before that was recruiting specialist at Mississippi State. So he worked directly with Mike Leach, under Mike Leach, was around Mike Leach, got to experience some of the Mike Leach legendary stories, I would imagine. And Mason Smith, thanks for coming on the show, bro. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you guys having me. Yeah, man, Leach was a special cat. We over at Mississippi State, he retained me. I was hired on from Joe Moorhead, who was the offensive coordinator with Saquon Barkley and everybody at Penn State, replaced Dan Mullen. And so that was the first year after the early signing period. So that we were still trying to figure everything out. We have the Elijah Moore celebration, if you will. So we can end up making a bowl game. And, when you're working in football, dude, I'm like, bowl bonus? You mean I get an extra month's salary? Look, I don't care how we get there. Let's just get there, And so we go to Louisville. We played a bowl game in Louisville and Nashville, and they killed us. Tutu Atwell, I think, has 70 receptions, 800 yards, and I might be shortchanged. And it's 9 degrees. We're all sitting on the sideline. It's not fun. Well, about 2 days later, we all get a call. Coach Moorhead gets let go. So none of us know what's going to go on. We're all, people are calling us, hey, what do you heard? We don't know anything. And then they just tell us, hey, Coach Leach is going to be landing tomorrow afternoon. And you're sitting there and you're like, wait, we hired Mike Leach? Because anybody that's around football, Mike Leach, and so it was just how he wanted to do it. He just told everybody, yeah, I'm going to get on the plane. So he gets on the plane and we're all like, all right, I guess we're meeting our boss today. And so he gets through everything and he has a team meeting at 6. He's going to announce to everybody who he is, all that stuff. It's a 3-minute meeting. He leaves the meeting. He's like, all right, guys, where can we go out around here?
Yeah, I heard he likes to drink a little bit. He likes to throw some bourbon back.
Yeah. He's a nightlife guy, and so it was very fun learning that because everyone's trying to pick his brain and stuff, and he could effortlessly sit there and talk to you about why he evaluates quarterbacks the way he does, and then also talk to you about kangaroos for 30 minutes, and it's a seamless transition when you're talking to him, you feel it, you're like, all right, yeah, I do know how we got here. You were talking about footwork, and now kangaroos, yeah, they are a little too big, Coach. I don't know why they're so big. And so it's just he was one of a kind, man, and he was unapologetically himself, like you said, and he never changed that. You know, when you're first meeting him, you're kind of trying to see if it's an act, and it's not. I mean, I was so confused at how it's 4 a.m. and he's wide awake. And then we start to all learn he's kind of like a vampire, man. He'd go to bed at like 5, 6 in the morning. That was his 10 o'clock, midnight, you know? And so we were so used to staff meetings, man. We didn't have staff meetings under Coach Leach. It was awesome. You know, like you're coming in and coach is just coming in the afternoon and he's ready for ball. Just the second he walks in, you know, and there are a couple times, you know, he's walking in different colored socks. And you're like, hey, coach, you know, just when you're first meeting him, like, coach, did you know that? And he's like, doesn't change Saturdays and would keep it moving. And you're like, shit, you know what, coach? Like, you're right. Like, that doesn't change the outcome of the game. So he always kept a good mindset with that. And, you know, recruiting wise, you know, he was awesome, man.
How was he in meetings with recruits or when people came and talked to him about trying to get them to Mississippi State? Because he is such a quirky guy and he would do certain things and say certain things that it may not land with everybody, right? How was his interaction with recruits?
So I mean, at first you were kind of like, all right, coach, like let's stay between the ditches and just keep going down the road. And then you're like, that's trying to put handcuffs on him. You just got to let him be him. You know, like what is it like in the other guys? He's a peacock. You just got to let him fly.
Yeah,
so,
right.
I mean, that's just what we had to do. And I mean, it was awesome, you know, like, and the coolest thing was when quarterbacks would come in. It didn't matter. Like in other positions, you know, at a school like Mississippi State, you sit there and you're like, all right, like we got to battle. You know, we know the schools we're going to battle. Some guys, you know, we see them get that offer and we know that, you know, it's going to be a real uphill battle and you have to make that decision on if you're going to dig your feet in or not. But with quarterbacks, dude, quarterbacks came from all around the country wanting to talk to them. They just wanted 10 minutes with them. You know, we had KJ Costello that offseason. So that was the guy that coach circled as his guy for the transfer portal. And so I'm still learning Coach Leach, and they put me, I was the recruiting guy with KJ for the weekend. So KJ comes in fresh off the plane, Stanford graduate. So already I'm like, I don't know what we're going to talk about this whole time, man.
He's way smarter than me.
So 100%. And he's like, hey, I got to take my last final. So we take a final, by the way, in the Holiday Inn in Starkville. We're just sitting there waiting. Coach Leach is just like having a great time talking to, you know, random guests that are coming in. He greeted a couple like he was like working on staff. And I'm like, Coach, you don't work here. You know, he's just like, hey, guys, welcome to Starkville. As families were coming on in. But, I mean, then we go into the stadium, man. We're talking with KJ. KJ doesn't want to go out with the host. He was just like, look, man, I want to talk ball with Coach. Sat down in the stadium. I got the short end of the stick, so we didn't leave the stadium until 5 a.m. Their flight left at 5:45 a.m., so it was my job to get into the airport and not miss it. And so
you missed a flight?
No, I didn't. He didn't. I got him there. Trust me.
Okay.
I got him there. I made sure of that because that was Coach's prized possession. But I mean, it was one of those where like I'm like, hey, Coach, like you know they got to go soon, and he's like, I don't know, they're fine. But that was him, and like you had to know, like you could get an itinerary, dude, just shred it.
Damn. So he just talked to this kid till 5 o'clock in the morning on his visit.
5 o'clock in the morning.
That's unbelievable.
They talked about everything. I mean, his family was, you know, they're a very fluent background. They're a very successful business family, Fortune 500 companies. And I mean, they wanted to talk to Coach about, you know, when he'd go up in the mountains, hang out in the mountains in Wyoming and stuff like that. And that was the thing about Mike that he did such an awesome job with, was that he found one avenue that he could get in and talk to you about. And he would just talk to you for days about it. And you'd leave it and you're like, this guy shouldn't be this genuine, you know? This is a guy that made $5 million a year, and you know he talked to all of us, even the students, like you know we were position coaches, we were coordinators.
That's awesome,
dude. It's so funny because you talk about him. What type of kid or what type of personality was it seemingly like hardest for him to, I guess, get to and connect with? Because seems to me like the guy could connect with a tree stump. Like it doesn't really matter. So like what type of kid just? What type of kid was it? Like where was it hard at?
I would say some of the also outspoken guys. That was the fun avenue to kind of watch, because he likes to banter intelligently just to kind of see where he can push your buttons. Like one thing I really respect about him is he'd see how tough you were. And, you know, every guy puts on pads or puts on their uniform and they believe they're tough, and they are tough. They're a lot tougher than I am. But, like, Coach kind of wanted to see how tough were you really. And so those were kind of the guys that it was fun to watch. You know, one day that, you know, Coach really pushed them. And then and that kid might not have taken it well. And the next day he comes in, he's happy as can be, and he's coming back. He's like, dude, I did have more in the tank. I did, you know, and it became the culture that Leach would set with those same guys. And those were the guys that he uses the lessons, were the most outspoken guys and the kind of the most alpha guys. He was like, you guys have more left in the tank than you think.
Right.
And it became the culture of, you don't want to let your brothers down. Right. And it was exactly what we needed over at State. But there were some funny battles, man, because, I mean, these are some alpha dudes, and I'm like, Coach, you're 5'5", this dude's 6'6".
He was only 5'5"?
No. I mean, I don't.
I was like, damn, he's a little short guy. I was like, Jesus.
No, my guy's bigger than that for sure. But I mean, it'd be some guys that I'm like, this is an NFL DN coach, and you're looking up at him like this, like, you know,
right.
You know, like you're eye to eye with him, and he wouldn't buck down. But that was the thing, is he treated everybody the same. It didn't matter if you were, you know, for his year, Kylan Hill, you were our star player, or you were a walk-on. He treated them all the same.
Do you have a specific experience or story, maybe that didn't happen to you specifically, maybe it did happen to you, somebody on staff or whatever, that was like, wow, like, I gotta tell you about what just happened to X, right? Like a story that just sticks in your head that's like one of the best ones.
So, there's a couple. So,
can you say how many do you have? Yeah.
Perfect.
How long you got me for? Yeah. And so, one thing with Coach didn't have a driver's license, and so
I love that.
Like, I mean, he didn't drive, you know.
You just said it so off the cuff, like we're supposed to know that.
Look, man, when you're around him, it's one of those things where, like, you forget, like, and it's something that, you know, rest in peace, but like all of us have been calling each other and talking to each other. You forget just how unique he was when you're around him every day, because it just becomes that's just Coach.
Right.
You know, and so he'd get picked up by the quarterback GA, and he was my roommate in Starkville, so he'd have to like leave and go pick him up. And now you got to remember, this dude was a walk-on quarterback for him at Washington State. He gets like on a plane with his own money to work and like get paid GA money and live in Starkville, Mississippi. So he's like, Coach, I'm just doing this for the love of the game. Well, he's got to pick up Leach every day. And it's different times. You got to coordinate with, you know, Coach's wife and Coach, because sometimes Coach just leaves his phone, and that's what Coach does for the day. And so
oh my God.
There's one day Trey, the quarterback GA, got in a wreck, but he had backed into a car that was like just parked like on the side of the road on the little ditch, and Coach was like, you're fine, you can go. And Trey was like, it's not your car, it's my car. And that was Coach. Coach like just lived in his own world sometimes, and you know.
Just go hit and run. It's fine. It's fine.
Don't leave it. Just
take
go.
care of it.
I honestly think to him, he was like, you were going like 10 miles an hour and there's nothing to it. And he's like, at least let me go check the car first, you know? There's those. I mean, there's sometimes, you know, we call coaches, you know, just our offensive staff, and we'd be like, hey, can we talk to you for a second? Like, you know, this one recruit's got a question, and they're like, yeah, we're still in offensive staff. And you're like, it's 11:30. Like, y'all, normally you guys are done for the night here, or, you know, like, y'all, this is the window. And they're like, yeah, Coach has been gone for an hour. We can't find him. And then you just call around, and it's like, Coach went to go grab food at like the mom and pop barbecue shop down the road, and like that, and he just wouldn't tell anybody. But that was him. He was just sit there and he'd go, I'm hungry, and he'd get up and go.
Well, he told somebody he didn't drive.
On my walk.
Yeah. And like,
He liked to walk. He was a walker, right? He liked to walk around a lot.
Yeah. At Washington State, he'd walk. And so that was when he I know I saw Ross Dellinger wrote a story about it, and it's really good. So when Coach first moved in, he wanted to stay in the baseball lofts, the left field lofts at Mississippi State. Well, the back of the lofts back up to the football parking lot at the facility. So when he first got there, he's like, oh, well, this is where I'm going to live. And they were like, okay, like, you know, we just gave you a $5 million contract. You're in Starkville, Mississippi, where you can buy whatever you want here for this. Like, are you sure? And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm good. And so he's just
living with all the college students at the loft.
Walking through the parking lot.
Is that Leach?
Just doing it like it's nothing. And so after
pre-game
like
parties,
they were like, they're like, Coach, you gotta get a house. Like you can't live here. And he's like, well, why not? Like, he was ready to buy season tickets just to claim that as like his rent.
No interest in baseball.
None. And it was just, man, he was one of a kind. And I mean, he had that. He taught me about how he would take classes so he wouldn't have to pay off student loans from undergrad. And he's like, I'm still doing that. And like,
he would take like one class a semester, right?
Yes. So he'd take one class and teach a class. So he literally never paid a penny of his student loans from what he was saying.
Wow. Good. Hey, innovator. Innovator is probably the best way because he was innovative on the football field. Obviously, he's innovative in the how to avoid paying your student loans.
Well, he also has a law degree.
And he's very smart. But he's quirky and he's fun. Did he give you any? Because obviously you were in the recruiting office. What? Why are you laughing?
I just can't stop laughing at the thought of I'm making $5 million a year, but I ain't paying them loans. Let me get that class. Let me take that class.
And that was all the way through. That wasn't just like a Mississippi State stop. They said he did that at Washington State, Texas Tech. Like, that was his thing.
Wow. I respect it. Always learning. Always trying to get better.
I love it.
But you were in the recruiting side of it, right? He obviously was the head coach. He ran the whole ship. But he was an innovator offensively. He loved talking to quarterbacks. Did he help you as far as like how to, in the way you recruit players, whether it be a quarterback, whether it be offensive, defense? Did he help you in the recruiting, or is that more of, hey, I'm going to kind of take what I can get from him without him kind of giving me specific advice?
Instructions, yeah.
So he wasn't a micromanager. Like, we would come to him with recruiting. Like, we would say, hey, coach, like, this kid wants to talk to you. And he goes, all right, pop the film in. And that's how he would learn about these guys. He was hands off, and he trusted everybody to do their job. And that was something I was kind of like, if there's anybody that can come in and kind of tell you what to do, it's him. And so then it kind of became the point when you're watching film for us, and I'm watching the quarterback. And then Coach Leach loves him. I'm just like quietly, I'm like, shit, I didn't like him. I'm not going to say that out loud. Like, I'm not. Right. Who am I going to tell Coach Leach, hey, Coach, actually, I think you're wrong about quarterbacks.
You're wrong. Appreciate everything. You're not right.
Let me tell you about quarterback play, Coach. Like, let me tell you about quarterback play. And but he did a really good job at it, and he taught me of it's a long process in recruiting. And so with that meaning, just because today a family's upset about a question of this, and the answer we might give them might not be the answer that's going to make them the happiest, but it's the honest answer. It's a long process for us to smooth everything over. We don't have to just make everybody happy, even though it is customer service.
Yeah.
And that was something, excuse me, he was amazing with.
Oh, get it out. It's okay. It's all right. We got you.
Doing my best. Doing my best for you, man.
You sound like Leach.
I respect you. I respect the effort there. Sometimes you can't do anything about it.
There you go. Get you a drink.
What are you gonna do, man? Yeah.
How long did it take you to like realize like, man, his football mind is very unique and very different? Like, how long did that was there a specific instance, or like how long did that take you to realize that?
When he used the limes out of his vodka soda our first night to coordinate plays.
Why do you have that many limes in it? No, I'm playing.
I need
he had that many drinks.
I was about to say either he had that many drinks or that was not vodka soda. It was vodka.
Dude, he's like pulling them out. He's like, all right. He's like, so this is how we're gonna do our splits. They're gonna be this long. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, dude, it's 11:30. We're in a Starkville dive bar. There's not much room in here, and everyone wants a photo with you. You're playing with limes on the table right now. But that was him, man. It was ball 1 second, it's something else the next, and you kind of watched him and you learned so much from him just from like watching. It's like one of those, like I used to say that it was like watching the National Geographic with him. Just like watching him operate was the most entertaining stuff in the world. Little stuff would excite him. He'd just walk by meetings and just kind of be like, hey guys, what's going on in here? And just sit in. And it's like, hey, this is like training. You know what's going on. He's just like, he just wants to listen. And so dude, that's what I was like, this guy's just different, man. And from the beginning, from the day he walked in, it was never like, hey guys, like this is what we're going to do. He's just like, hey guys, this is my vision. Like either you guys are going to listen to me or you're not. And at the end of the day, like I'm going to get shit done whether you want to do it or not. And so it was awesome, man. there's not going to be another Mike Leach, that's for sure.
Ever.
You got one, Lloyd?
Yeah, I do. I believe we had a conversation whenever we had linked up in Baton Rouge in the past, and you told me that Mike Leach had, I believe it was 15 plays, and other people would go to him, and he'd be like, try to give an innovative idea, and he'd be like, if you find a better one, I'll take one out. But he only stuck to his 15. That's why he had the little note card.
Yeah, and so it was the worst part, by the way. All right, so I'm going to rewind this for you guys. This is how I learned about the offense. So obviously, like when these families were asking questions, I'm kind of like, hey, coach, what do you want me to say outside of you're going to throw the ball? Like, that's not going to help us. And he says, okay. And they explained to me the offense. Same offense since 1999. And now I'm an SEC guy. I've grown up in the South. All I know is SEC football. So I say, all right, we're having the same offense for 23 years. Okay. That's bold, all right? And we're going to throw 60 times. Good. We want DNs to get more pass rushers. And so then he sits there and he goes, yeah, it's 15 plays, the whole playbook. And you're like, what? It's 15 plays? He's like, yeah, 15. If you want a new one, like if you're sitting there in staff and you go, hey guys, why don't we do a flea flicker? He's like, all right, what play do you want to take out to add the flea flicker? There's never 16. There's never going to, he's like, I'm never adding a 16th play. And then I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh shit. And so Gardner Minshew comes in, he's a Mississippi guy. So, we're all talking and he tells us this story. Gardner tells it best because he does the Leach voice and everything. So the hand signals are the same since 99. Leach never changed the hand signals.
How does it not get caught?
We're getting there. Don't worry. And so we're sitting there and Gardner tells us a story. They're in Oregon. And he says the DC's running out doing this because he called scissors. So they're going to run scissors. And Gardner was like, yeah, still hit him for 21 yards. I was like, they knew the play that was coming. The DC ran down, told his defense to play, and you still hit him. And he was like, yeah. But what Leach would do is in practice, we're going to master these 15 plays to where it doesn't matter if you know or not. And I was like, so this is just ultimate trust. Because an SEC guy, I was like, I'm terrified this isn't going to work. Like, I was scared.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to recruit some of these families. Like I had a kid from Louisiana committed to us as a receiver. He was an Under Armour All-American and going to LSU. And I was still like, man, I don't know how I'm going to hang on to this kid. And I was like, shit, man, this is 15 plays. If I can put on a VHS tape and see the same hand signals, that's probably not good. I feel like he's going to figure this out.
Yeah.
Like Kirby Smart's going to figure this out. But like, that was the thing with him.
Bo Pelini certainly didn't.
Yeah, Bo Pelini definitely didn't figure that out.
He did 15 years ago, though.
15 years ago he did.
But isn't that...
I thought I signed the Heisman winner when KJ went for 60.
Right, yeah.
I was like, I'm getting a raise. I was like, this is amazing.
And then he wasn't the quarterback at the end of the year.
Oh, LSU, every LSU fan was convinced that Mississippi State was like,
really good.
They're in power
really
under
good.
Mike Leach. But isn't that Mike Leach just trusting what football is the entire time? It's like cover two is cover two. If you run this, it works against. Yeah. He was just going against what scheme was.
Yes, and my favorite thing that people always say is, "Well, just drop 8." And I remember Leach would always sit there and we talk about it because, like, they gave us that in the SEC. But when they drop 8 with the way his system was, and I'm not as X and O's in it as everybody else was, but like, it was, you had to trust the system, and that's what Gardner always talked about was for the system to work. It's a blind trust. Because each route, like it is 15 plays, but there's a cover beater for each route.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So whatever you're going to run, somebody's going to be open. You just got to trust it. And I remember when, we're all talking about the drop 8 because it's about like third week in a row. It's kind of giving us problems. And Leach goes, you motherfuckers think anybody is like, no one's dropped 8? You guys think no one else dropped 8? Fucking 20 years? And you're like, well, yeah, coach, I think you're right. I guess someone else has done it. And he's like, yeah, we'll be fine. And so that was something that was like, you're just sitting there and you're like, dude, I got to blindly trust the system. The plays look like they're on an Applebee's paper napkin from the bar.
Got lime juice on them.
Yeah, with lime juice. And he's like wiping up. Like, so you sit there and you're like, dude, this is just like, it's a hope and a prayer. It's like, that was blind faith at the end of the day, and it works. And it was amazing to watch him coach quarterbacks in a way that most people want to coddle a quarterback because you don't want to, you don't want to mess with their psyche and things like that. But Leach coached them hard.
Yeah.
And it just made those guys better. Like Will Rogers, dude, Rogers is a dog, man. Like he's putting up big time stats under Leach, and Leach hasn't played many freshmen.
Yeah.
Like if you look at the course of his career.
I think he's. I've been impressed with him, obviously, by watching him. Stuff that he did at LSU, played in pretty well this year. But Mike Leach, I think it's, there's been a ton of stories about him going on around social media, print media, all the talk shows, everything, and well deserved, right? Because this is a Mike Leach Appreciation Day. But what I want to do is I kind of want to try to segue. It's hard to segue out of the Mike Leach conversation to the recruiting conversation. And I was trying to figure out an avenue how to do it. I think you just got to rip the Band-Aid off and go straight for it, right? And obviously, your expertise is recruiting. That's what you were doing at Mississippi State. That's what you did at LSU. And you were very good at it. You obviously can connect with a lot of these athletes and a lot of these families. My question to you is, from your time from when you started doing this until now, how has the landscape of recruiting changed, and how has your approach changed to be able to adapt to the change of the landscape?
So the biggest one's NIL, and I know that drum gets beaten all the time. Name, image, and likeness, and some people are for it, some people are against it, and whether they want to admit it or not, it's the new age of college football. Some people think it's pay for play, others think that it's what all the athletes deserve, and honestly, both are right. It's at the end of the day, these kids, the way I view it is these kids are putting their bodies on the line. You guys know as athletes, like, that recovery is not fun.
Right.
Some of those days are tough. So, I think that's kind of been the biggest change within it. And the kids are finally able to get what they're worth and what they feel that they're worth. Because some of these kids never, they're not going to play after college. You have guys that get hurt and stretch it off, and sometimes it's for precautionary. But for that moment, I mean, they're sitting there thinking, is my kid ever going to walk again? Is my kid ever going to play again?
Right.
Every Saturday night. And so that's where I think NIL has been a game changer for that, because it's able to alleviate a lot of concerns, and it's able to kind of give a foundation to where some of these families can just take a deep breath. And that beforehand wasn't the case. So a lot of these families were, they were almost more eager to transfer, but the one thing that held them back was having to sit a year.
Yeah.
Now where that's not the case.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Keep going. Keep going.
So I think where you have that people now want to say that kids are wanting to transfer for NIL and because all that, and that's just not the case. Like, that is not the case why all these families are doing all this kind of stuff. It's a lazy excuse that kind of gets thrown around. But at the end of the day, these families were always concerned for one thing or another. I mean, you think about when you go to college as just a regular student. I mean, hell yeah, there's times that you sit there and you're like, man, did I make the right choice coming here?
Right.
And like, you don't have the athletic side of it. You don't get as much free will to change your major and things like that, or if a family member gets sick. So there's a lot of other avenues within that, to where now the one free transfer kind of changes that, to where it almost makes the families, through the first time through the process, be able to say, all right, we have a get out of jail free card.
Yeah, you can take a chance.
Now yes. So maybe, we kind of used to say it in the building a couple of times, a couple of my stops, you just want to finish second. Like, I'm not a moral victory person, but I mean, you guys know me, I can't stand them. But if you finish second, hey man, you know what? I'm going to have a shot at getting this kid still.
Yeah, right.
I am. Because it's going to take one mistake by that school, one promise they made that they don't fulfill, or one coach just messing one thing up, and this kid's in free game again.
What?
And that's the biggest landscape change.
And obviously you helped a lot with LSU in recruiting. I believe you helped with Will Campbell a good bit. What was your take on, if you feel comfortable talking about the old LSU recruiting class? I'm not going to ask you about the 2023 class because I feel like you're kind of in it still. Don't know where you're going to land. I have some guesses, but you obviously helped. You obviously helped a lot with the LSU class. I remember you talking about recruiting Will Campbell. Are you surprised at how massive some of these freshmen have been, and how important and how good they were to be able to be inserted and played right away and make a difference?
I feel like the right answer is to say no, but I mean, you are. we all thought Will Campbell was a special player. I mean, we all had eyes and a brain. So, I mean, that was an easy one. I mean, you watched that kid at summer camp ready to fight players on the team.
Yeah.
Because they were talking trash because Quincy Wiggins beat him. But Will was a guy for just that same streak, when I had some health stuff happen, Will was one of my first phone calls.
Am I gonna bill play?
Hey, yeah, his family's calling me, but that was the thing that, like, for Will, for example, we knew he was, but kind of like what you guys were talking about earlier, and I think that you guys made a really good point. Freshmen aren't really supposed to come in the SEC and make that big of an impact,
right.
And I think that that's the biggest, like, when you talk about it, that's the biggest discrepancy, my belief, between when you are in the building and fans. Fans see the stars of, hey, Harold Perkins, for example. He's a 5-star kid and he's a top 5 player in the country. You know how hard it is to come in and be one of the best defensive players in the SEC as an 18-year-old kid?
Right.
Like, yeah, he's ranked high, but, like, you'd have been ecstatic if he was on special teams playing hard and he was a solid rotational piece as a freshman. You'd be so happy with that. And so, like, that's where I think that kind of gets lost. So, like, I mean, you hit on Emory Jones, you hit on Will Campbell. Those are 2 bookends for the next three years for you. And those are positions that you don't find freshmen. Like, that's the toughest, in my opinion, for freshmen to come into the offensive line. It's not the same. It's easier for a receiver. It's easier for a corner, in my opinion, or even running back. Offensive line, dude, that stuff's hard, man. You don't see many of those. So to get 2 of those, and you'll have some more coming in, like, I think for LSU, they're set up in a good spot.
Yeah, and that was going to be my next question, is maybe there's some guys that you didn't see pop as freshmen that you were part of their recruiting class or helped recruit the class. Who would be somebody to keep an eye out for next year if you're an LSU fan?
Oof, wow. God, Lloyd, you're just coming in hot today.
That's why I let him do it, not me. I told you he's going to put you in a corner.
I know he was. Honestly, the Terrence Welsh.
Oh. That's why I said. I thought he was going to be. I think he has a chance. So that's 337 people, man. We all stick together down there.
So, I mean, you got LT. His mental makeup's special, man. It's special. And that kid, he's been through a lot, 2 knee injuries, and they're season enders. I mean, they're not sprains. They're season enders. Those are ones that mentally can really strike you. And I remember, when I was at LSU, he sent me a message when he knew that ACL was torn. I mean, you thought Shakespeare wrote a play, and it's how long he typed the message to me. And I mean, the whole message was him just being like, Coach, I'm going to come back stronger from this. I hope you, Coach Raymond, and Coach Orgeron don't pull our scholarship offer. And we were like, dude, we're not going anywhere. But, like, that's where that kid's head was just like, I want to help LSU.
Yeah.
Like, that kid he embodies LSU. His mental makeup is so strong to where I really do believe LT can be a coach. I've not talked to him about this, so, I mean, if he sees this, great. It's the first time he's hearing it, too. But, like, LT can be a really good coach because he's going to make everybody in that room around him better just because of the standard he's going to hold everybody to. And so he'd be one guy I'd circle. I mean, I know Mason Taylor's had a really good freshman year. That was an awesome eval by Derek Shea, who was the tight end coach for us under Coach Orgeron. I mean, he worked him out, and, I mean, he stood on the table for him. Like, I mean, and this was a guy for us, we were like, stat-wise, in high school, I mean, tight ends, that's tough. Either you're like split out wide or like you're not really getting good stats. And then you watch them at St. Thomas Aquinas, that's a powerhouse school. But, like, so that was like, it had to be an in-person eval. So he was one that was special. And, I mean, I think the highest ceiling of the class is Quincy Wiggins. I felt that way when we were going through it. If you look from just a ceiling perspective, I mean, when we measured him, I mean, he's the largest human I've ever seen. Like, just.
I mean, he got tackled by a car and got right back up from it. I mean, there's not many people that can do that.
TFL.
And it was nothing to him. It was like brushing him off, and he's just like, "Yeah, can we keep getting on the scooter?" And you're like, "Bro, what planet are you from?"
He tried to play in the ball. He tried to play in the All-American game.
Yes. Yeah, he did. He told Jeff Jones that. That's great. Good work, Lloyd. Good homework.
Listen.
And so, but then with Quincy, I mean, we measured him on campus, dude. I think his wingspan was like 7'2" or 7'3", and you just see that, and you're like, dude, what are you like? What are you? You're not human. You're not the same species as me. Like, I'd see him, and I'm like, dude, don't stand near me. I feel worse about myself when you're around, just because you got like 70 pounds on me of just straight muscle. But I mean, that kid's special. Like, just athletically, he's raw. But like, Kane's a superstar at D-line, coach, man. Kane is a superstar, and he's gonna. I have full faith he'll get Quincy right. So that'd be my two, honestly, LT and Quincy.
Appreciate it, and obviously, you have a
namesake
at LSU that you share with. He got injured in the first year. You talked about Jamar Cain and his ability in the defensive line. How much of an impact will he make healthy next year when you add in a Quincy Wiggins? You add in, if Mason Smith is right, that D-line Harold Perkins playing a little bit blitzing off the edge. Like, how much of a difference maker will he be when he comes back?
Oh, I mean, he's a superstar. That's a first round pick. That's a top 10 pick potential. And, I thought that Mason was progressing in a manner that he had an argument, obviously before he got hurt, was just from like everything, you kind of hear when I wasn't around, but just like that he could have been maybe one of the best defensive players in the country and up there in the awards to show that. That was kind of the talk that was kind of coming around. And I mean, the kid's mental makeup's always been right. It's matched his physical ability, which when you have that and you get that perfect marriage, I mean, it's special. You don't see a lot of those when that marriage happens between the mental and the physical, but Mason's one of those. For sure.
You spoke earlier a little bit about the transfer portal. Obviously, recruiting has changed over the last 3 or 4 years when the portal really started cooking and said, hey, you can transfer, you can do whatever you want. Everybody's starting to move, and the portal gets packed with a bunch of guys, and a lot of the guys don't even get to go to schools. How have you and how are recruiters adjusting to that? Are they like, is there a side of the recruiting in the building that says, hey, you're going to go after the high school, you're a high school recruiting, and there's a side in the building that's saying, hey, you're going to go after just the portal guys? Like, how do they organize, or is it like some cross-selling? Like, are you going to do both, or are you trying to, like, how's that working?
So that's going to be a building by building basis. When you see that, and that's probably going to be structured from the top, where you predominantly will have one person that, hey, your whole job is just evaluation. Your job might be portal evaluation. My job might be portal communication. And so that's going to be where you've got to find that. There's not, when you over communicate, that's the key when you have those, is to make sure you don't have crosshairs, or then you might end up accidentally talking to a coach about a kid and he thinks he's you're the high school guy, but you got a portal kid for him and you don't think to tell him it's a portal kid, and this guy's sitting there thinking you're talking to him about this 6'6", 300 D tackle that's a monster, and then he's like, dude, this kid's got 1 year left in the portal. I thought he was a high school kid that you found.
Yeah.
You
gotta be organized.
They're like, what did you just come here? Yeah. That's the biggest thing is, it's so many names, and it's one of those like, dude, you all have coaches call you from the road saying, hey, so-and-so in the portal, and you have to like literally refresh every 2 minutes. And it's like department wide, everybody's got to do it. Everyone's like, hey, what's the password for the portal? And I mean, it's an all hands on deck.
That's pretty
because
intense.
all these kids are hitting at once. And I mean, I didn't have it when you had the window. It was just free for all.
Right, true.
When you're looking at the landscape of recruiting, coast to coast, as you're evaluating kids, do you see differences in certain regions of the states, like in the type of player you get?
Absolutely. South is a different style. I think there's different motivating factors for each. I think in some regions of the country, you're going to see kids that love football, and that's about it. And then you see other kids where they love football, and there's motivating factors to where they want to retire their mom or they want to retire their family, and they feel that pressure, whether that's self-induced or not. They feel that, and every single day they take it in that manner. They attack every single day of, if I don't come into work hard today, mom's not going to get retired. And those guys are the different animals. They're the ones that go extra weight in the weight room. They're the ones that do extra reps after practice. They're the ones that stay longer and do extra meetings. And those are the guys that you see kind of make it. So I think from the South, you kind of see a whole different mindset of dog. And you see people argue all the time about like best players, where they come from. I mean, the states you always hear are Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, Mississippi, Texas.
Yeah.
That's kind of the region you always see. And I think Texas players, for example, they're well coached. They're fundamentally sound guys. They're physically ready to come in day one. Whereas in some states, like in Mississippi, one of the things we did at Mississippi was we had to project really well, because you would have kids come in and their strength and conditioning program wasn't the same as the kids in Texas, where the kid in Texas might be a 235-pound, 17-year-old linebacker, and the Mississippi kid might be playing at 180.
Yeah. He'll be 235 though when he gets to college. He's more athletic.
Give him a nice summer at the program.
Yeah, a little protein shakes,
feed him weights, hey, eat this dumbbell.
Yeah. That's how that works.
You take extra shakes. Oh yeah. Give
Yeah, that's how.
snacks.
We've all been there. Hey, so you got to recruit under two of the most polarizing.
Perfect word.
Right. I think that's probably the best word. In Mike Leach and Coach O. How are their recruiting
strategy?
Yeah. How do they strategize their recruiting, and how is their what's the difference between recruiting under Coach O and then recruiting with Mike Leach?
Wow. I mean, and I went from Leach to O, so
right.
It was not, there wasn't a buffer in between for me. It was straight in the deep end for both of them. And so it's unique. Leach, seriously, man, I mean, he's hands off. He was, and it's something that I think people don't understand that that's a value. There is an ability to be paralyzed by overanalysis. And Leach would never do that. Leach was just, I hire you for your expertise in this. Go do it. So recruiting was what we saw fit. Well, then with Coach O, I mean, Coach O is one of the best recruiters of all time. So Coach O is going to have his fingerprint on recruiting, and he's going to do a damn good job of it. And so that was completely different for me, because I went from Coach Leach, where Coach Leach was more, show me the baby, don't tell me about the contractions. You got a kid ready to commit.
I've never heard that one.
Commit, just come do it. Wait, you never? Oh, dude, I say that all the time. And so, but that was one. That was I mean, that's a Leachism.
I was about to say that.
It had to be a Leach. It had to be a Leachism, huh?
Oh yeah, Leach. I mean, that was just him. He's what's the point of coming in and telling me every single day, a daily update? Just
assume you're working.
Yeah, I don't need to know all that. And then with Coach O, that was a unique thing for me, was when I got to LSU, I'm a big, when we're in the building, I'll speak when I'm spoken to. I like coming in the office, I put my AirPods in, I listen to music, I go home, man. And I recruit. I do as I'm told, and that's it. But with Coach O loves recruiting. So Coach O was Mason, who'd you talk to today? And I'm sitting there thinking, because I've been trained under Coach Leach, to where you're Coach, I don't have a baby to deliver right now. And he doesn't want that. He wants to hear about the contraction. He wants to know.
Yeah.
He wants to know that it's so-and-so's mama's, favorite day of the week because she's going to get her half off Starbucks. That's the stuff that he loves. Because he loves when they come in knowing that stuff, so Coach can talk to them, and Coach would kill it. And so that was one of those where it was talking to them before the families would come in. I mean, it was a whole different vibe when you were talking about prepping Coach Leach and prepping Coach O. Coach O didn't need any prepping; he got it. The only thing you can do is mess it up if you try to help Coach O out, because Coach O is going to do better than you will, and that was kind of the rule of thumb I always went with. I was Coach, you're going to do better than I will. But I mean, there were some days where I'm dude, I just need these two in a room and just let them talk. Just let Coach O get all.
They're two complete opposites too.
They couldn't be more different.
Yin and yang. Yin and yang.
Yeah.
And so going from one to the other, when I told Coach Leach I was leaving, he couldn't have been happier. He's Mason, go do what's best for you. And I'm coming in, and Coach O, it's clapping, it's 4th and 1, and I was all right, well, this is completely a different ball game from what I'm used to.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, you got to coach, and you got to be around two entertaining guys. One is a very good offensive mind. One is very good at recruiting, and you've learned obviously both from them. Dude, we kept you a lot longer than I told you that I was going to keep you. I'm going to blame that on Lloyd for asking the LSU questions and putting you in the corners.
Well, we have to get the clips out for the
social. We got to play to our crowd a little bit.
And Leach wouldn't want it any other way.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't think he would. And last thing before you go, how cool was it that you saw somebody sneak into Mississippi State Stadium and put the pirate flag up on half-mast? I think that was pretty awesome.
Dude, that's everything, man.
I think you said that's what I think Leach would have wanted that. I think he smiled. He's that's fun.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen the clip that's been going around where Coach, says that, it's not his job about the obituary because he's already dead. But Coach, dude. But the thing is, and that's seriously what he means. You always kind of waited for a shoe to drop with Coach where you're there's no way this is him.
Yeah.
I mean, this is Mike Leach's dudes. We don't have football the way it is right now without him.
Right.
The RPO concepts with the air raid and deep downfield passing and the crossing routes and everything you see with that's all based from Coach. But Coach never, that wasn't his strategy, was to go and let everybody know.
Yeah.
So a part of me is kind of I feel like Coach would just kind of be it's another day, but he deserves his flowers, man, and I'm really glad he's getting them.
No doubt.
Wish he got them sooner. But the fact that they did that shows the Mississippi State fan base, man. They're a good fan base.
Absolutely.
And Coach Leach came in and embodied them from day one, which is what Coach has always done. And the cool thing about him is just, you look at all the towns he's been in, they're all the smaller college towns in the Power 5 level. And he loves it. He loved the small town. I think partially because it was easier for him to walk. That's my guess. No driver's license, but it was awesome, man. And I saw them. They've got a lot of stuff going on for him. They've got memorials. They're accepting cards for his family. They're doing a really good job of just kind of doing it because, I'm 28, but I've never seen a sitting head coach pass away.
Right.
In their chair before. So this is something that, I don't think we've seen in sports in a long time.
Yeah, no
so
doubt.
I think they're handling it a really good way.
He deserves the stories. He deserves all the appreciation. He deserves, being remembered and celebrating his life. So I appreciate you coming on the show. We'll have you back on, talk recruiting. I know the signing day's coming up here pretty soon. And then whenever you kind of figure out where you're going to go, we can have you back on. Because especially if it's a rival school, and so Lloyd can cry to you and get mad at you and do all the things. But, dude, you're awesome. I appreciate it. Next time you're in Baton Rouge, we'll go have a drink.
All right, man. Sounds
all right,
good.
bro. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
It'll be St. Patty's Day.
Yeah. Oh,
he's a legend, dude.
Legend.
I wanted to get to the Leach story that I heard on Pardon My Take today on the way over here, where he had a phone call. It was Lincoln Riley was the GA under him. And he had a phone call, and Leach talks to this guy for 35 minutes and hangs up. He's like, loses connection. They're just talking. And Lincoln's over there like, I'm just working, like doing what probably a coach should be doing, I guess is what he's thinking. They lose connection. Mike Leach pulls out the flip phone, calls him back, and talks to him again for another 35 minutes. And Lincoln was like, after the phone call, he's like, who was that? He goes, oh, it was the wrong number.
What? He talked to the wrong number for an hour and 10 minutes.
Called him back. It was like, wow. Well, I just didn't feel like the conversation ended the way it was supposed to.
Wow.
And Lincoln's over there like, what am I getting myself into? Like, you're at work. And he's
like, I'd love to know what that conversation was
you
about.
You think Lincoln was his ride?
Oh, dude, probably.
At some point, right? It had to be.
I mean, Leach has had a pretty wide-ranging tree. I mean, he came
under his tree,
and he came under the Hal Mummy tree. That's where Leach started, right? The night in '99, and like that's where Hal Mummy at Kentucky had his whole deal, and then Leach kind of took that over. It was at Oklahoma, and then Texas Tech, and then Washington State, and then Mississippi State.
I think the best one I've seen this week is when, I want to say it was a bowl game or towards the end of the year, the team is brawling on the field, and he's in the stands taking pictures with fans while his team is brawling.
Fighting. I mean, he folded up the chairs on his own team, and then a GA had to go back and unfold them. And he's just like, you just wasted your time. He's like, maybe nobody's sitting down over here. But I think you said, I think you said something or Mason said something that is kind of, we do it a lot in society, which stinks, is that you have almost, like, you don't get your flowers until it's too late. Like, you celebrate life because it's gone.
Yeah.
And it's like, we always knew Mike Leach was a national treasure, but you wait to give all of his pub until he can't hear any of it, you know?
Right. And people want to hate on it when he's in the fact, like, they had that whole story about when he puts them in the closet.
Kid had a migraine, coach, as a migraine sufferer.
And as a migraine sufferer, right? We both suffer from migraines. Listen to me. Just because you have a bad headache, doesn't mean you have a migraine, right? So that's the whole thing. Oh, I had a migraine. Did you though? Did your eyes start going blurry? Did you not be able to like articulate what you're trying to say? Like,
you throw up.
Migraine's real, and the way you're supposed to get out of a migraine is you're either prescribed medicine or you have to go and sleep in a dark, quiet room.
Light's the worst thing you can have.
Right, and so I'd imagine, and I don't know the story, but from what I've read about the story is I imagine that this kid had a migraine, and Mike Leach, knowing a lot about a lot of different things, said, hey, we got to put you in a dark, quiet room. And the only place he had was a closet. I used to take when I was playing, I was in AAA, and if you've ever been to a AAA clubhouse in a locker room, there's not a lot of like spots to be, right? It's not, some of them are tiny, some of them are like just old. And I had a migraine, and it was probably 3 hours before the game. Luckily, we weren't taking batting practice. and I needed to take like a nap. I took medicine, but I needed to like close my eyes.
You can't do anything.
I locked myself in a closet. Like, I had to. That was the only place I could go. And so some people just like to make stuff about it because the guy's quirky, but
well, the thing with that happened, and I don't know why I remember this, but do you remember Craig James, like the guy that worked on ESPN? It was his son, so he had a platform, and he was like, "This is abuse" or whatever. And Leach was like, "The kid told me he wanted to go in there, so I let him in.
Right?
Like, what am I supposed to do?"
And then nobody talked about it after, and it was over. And that's how it works.
That's how he got. That's how he left it. Tech. And he had to kind of wait a while to get a job at Washington State. I saw some stats where he like doubled the wins of every team he went to. Like, he knows football.
Yeah.
Whether you like his style of 15 plays or not, he's gonna get you wins.
No doubt.
That was awesome.
That was
great.
He was great. Very insightful. Understands his stuff. We're winding down the show, boys. I have two things I want to talk about, and we're gonna flip the script to a little bit of baseball. I want to get some not off my chest, but just what I like seeing how Major League Baseball right now they're signing all of their guys and they're signing all the big free agents before Christmas. I would have liked to see this happen 2 years ago, but now the CBA is done and the owners don't have to worry about it or try to collude, because I know they like to say there's no collusion. That's bullshit. Why would you not sign anybody before the season? Basically, they were signing guys before spring training in the last 3 years. And now that you have a CBA, why would you sign them before Christmas? The reason is because they had a CBA and they were trying to set up how they're going to negotiate the CBA to try to get it in their favor. Now that the CBA is over with, they're able to say, all right, fuck it. We have 5 years with the CBA. There's nothing we can do to change it. We're just going to go ahead and sign all these guys early on, which proves to me that they could have done this 3 years ago. And the reason why I say this is a lot of the minor league free agents that have been in me and Jared's positions are going to have a lot more opportunity in the coming years because all of these big guys are signed. They're going to have their roster pretty much solidified, and there's going to be no limbo waiting, right? Second thing, and this is to you, Jay. I'm looking at some guys, and we're friends with him. Awesome guy from Lake Charles, played at McNeese. Jace Peterson. Saw he signed a 2-year deal with the A's.
Did he really?
2-year big league deal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jace is still doing it, man.
Still doing it, dude.
Still doing it.
Yeah. Shout out to him. Great guy.
For him, man. Yeah.
Great guy. But that's all I want to say. Well, it's not a big conversation. It's just, I saw it and I'm like,
interesting.
It's bullshit.
It is.
It's all bullshit.
What?
Just everything.
Everything he just
the
talked
collusion.
about.
Everything I just talked about that you probably weren't paying attention to.
No, I'm not.
I know. What are you doing over there?
I'm trying to get some Denver Harris scoop.
Ooh, let me hear it.
I didn't
He
get
put
any
a
yet.
picture of his official visit on his Instagram story, but then deleted it.
See, it's I don't know. I don't know anything, but I would like to know more.
Are you on Twitter? Let's get on Twitter and see. Are you on Twitter?
I'm sending some text out.
Yeah, that's
If you're
probably
listening,
better.
Denver, we very much welcome.
You're welcome here. I'll drive you. He got his car taken away. So if you're worried about that, no longer the case. You're safe to walk around Baton Rouge.
Do you think who's the biggest competition for Denver Harris outside of LSU?
I don't know. Who is it?
I think it's
Who would it be?
Colorado.
That's okay. So two schools of thought here. I would have said the same thing. Jordy came on yesterday, I believe, and said for all the people that think Colorado is like a major player, maybe in front of LSU, not the case. He was like, that's not the now. If the meeting doesn't go well, whatever happens, that I can't speak to.
I'm not saying they're the leaders, but like as far as
they're definitely not the leader. But I've no. That's the thing. The only other tie that Denver Harris has from recruiting is Corey Raymond at Florida. So that could be a possible option if the thing falls through it. But it feels like it's LSU and far and away no one else. So that's why I'm interested to see. Like, let's just get through this one thing. And if you're LSU,
the meeting happened today, so
yes, it's
happening now.
Mm-hmm. So we're getting reports. Or if we get any reports, I will see if I find out anything substantial to report. But I will continue to say that I feel like it's all good on the Denver Harris front because you haven't heard anything from any other schools about where else he would go. He's obviously meeting with LSU. So as long as you don't totally bungle the thing, it feels like he's going to be a Tiger, which
huge.
And after hearing about LaTerrence Welsh,
I always felt
I've always been high on Welsh too.
I just didn't see enough. I didn't see anything from him. You know, like I didn't see him play
Yeah.
in high school, so I wasn't sure. And then you didn't want him to play last year, really, because.
Well, I saw him in camp. I was like, okay, he can be pretty good just off the physical skills.
All right. Let's get to some betting and the gambling. We got Thursday night football tomorrow.
Who plays?
I told you earlier in the show. San Francisco's at Seattle. It's going to be a pretty good game.
What's the spread?
You tell me. Let's guess the spread.
San Francisco at Seattle. I got San Francisco
2.5
minus
4.5.
You say 2.5. You say 4.5.
San Francisco minus 4.
3.
Bitch.
San Francisco minus 3. Over under 43.
Ooh, that's a low one.
I think I like San Fran.
San Fran.
I mean, it's just too hard to score on them.
I think I like the over there. I'll be honest with you.
Maybe. Well, it's a lot of how much San Fran runs the ball. They chew up the clock, but they also score when they run the ball.
Yeah, but they score.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
They score.
You know, I saw a crazy stat.
And I think Gino's running out of steam.
No, he's still good.
I think he's still good.
He's still. I mean, he's still having a good year.
Yeah, I know,
Great year.
but it's not as.
Well, they didn't have a running. The running back.
Yeah,
was hurt
Kenneth
the last
Walker's
couple
been
weeks.
out
Yeah.
too. So
Is he
he's
gonna be
back.
Well,
He's back.
they had him and someone else out too. The guy behind him was out too.
Yeah.
Kenneth Walker should be getting Rookie of the Year.
Well, he
consideration.
struggled the last. He's been banged up, so like his games haven't been great. He's been a touchdown guy recently, like not a ton of yards, but I mean, I think he's finally healthy. He was a full participant in practice on
Who
Tuesday.
will win
So
the offensive rookie of the year? I feel like there's a lot of guys you could throw into that.
Tell me some names.
Who's been the best rookie
Olave,
quarterback?
Garrett
I mean, Olave's up there. Garrett Wilson's up
I
there.
think Garrett Wilson's actually. Well,
By the way, same team.
Yeah.
High school, I mean, college.
Yeah, in college.
And then you have Smith and Jigba coming out.
Yeah.
Supposed to be a top 10 pick. And then you got Marvin Harrison, who's
He
supposed to be
didn't
the
play-
best out of all of them.
He
Yeah,
didn't play like all year.
for a hamstring.
Yeah, I'm sure
He's
it's.
sitting out the college football playoff with a
Yeah, I
hamstring.
mean, he doesn't need to prove anything else, I'm sure, he said.
Yeah, but I would
I
like.
think at this point, when it hasn't been healthy, he probably re-injured it at some point.
Yeah, just probably like a little bit of like an Armani Goodwin.
Yeah, but I don't think it was like a little bit of a thing. It probably was like
No, I'm saying
to
it might have
that
been like
level
a surgery.
Yeah, I think so hamstrings are tricky, man.
Tricky. I
Tricky,
remember when
tricky,
Jay
tricky.
Mitch had a fake hamstring the entire baseball season.
It did.
Oh, did you get fined like Cam?
Not
They had
that,
this.
not that
whole-
kind of fake.
We had
but
this
yeah.
whole art, Bo Lowry.
Bo Lowry deserves
How long did it take him to tape that every game?
too long.
Yeah.
And he did it.
Yeah.
Bo Lowry deserves a lot of credit for keeping me and obviously to this day countless people on the field. But yeah.
So he just taped up your.
So he
hamstring?
taped
So
it
we
or-
did this thing where
Yeah.
he used to take a TheraBand, like a legit like
Crazy.
TheraBand that you would do like shoulder exercises, not like the rope one, like the band one.
Get a quick pump in.
You want to hear it or you want to tell it? Okay.
No,
All right.
no, I'm saying-
So he would get a TheraBand. He would get a TheraBand, and he would cut it. So it's obviously not correct connected in a circle now, right? He would cut it. He would go behind my knee here. I'm talking like stretch this thing. Like he was trying to give me a wedgie. Stretch it as far as he could. Have someone start the tape around my waist. Cut a little bit of the slack. Fold it back again. Continue wrapping, taping around my waist, tape it below my knee. So basically, it was an assist.
Gave you a fake hamstring.
Yeah,
Told you.
pretty much.
Unbelievable.
Where were you at this? Were you like, what are we doing?
No, he said.
No, I was like doing
get
it
on the
on the
field.
field.
I
I
trust
guess
you
so.
implicitly.
Yeah, like my junior year in baseball, I think I missed 1 weekend. I missed the Illinois weekend at home, and that
Which
was
is
when
one
the
of the ones we
hamstring.
lost.
That was when the hamstring happened, and we lost that weekend. And then so I was like, all right, let's just get back on the field as soon as possible. Which I think I was back in the field like the midweek game, but I was like, yo, I don't know, whatever this is, you may have to keep doing it. Well, we just literally pretty much did it
Whole
the
year.
rest of the year.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, Jordan Arsamon tweeted
What did he tweet?
A tiger.
just a
emoji.
little tiger.
So
emoji.
it seems like it happened.
Let's go, boys.
Seems like it happened.
Graduate champions.
How did we get on the fake hamstring thing? Oh, hamstring injury with.
Yeah.
Well, because
Kenneth,
the
yeah.
Saints got fined by like an inordinate amount of money for the Cam Jordan when he went down.
That
for a
I
fake
think they're
injury,
gonna
and
win
he's-
that. I think they're gonna win that.
Why, Roger Goodell? Get
It's a
the
good
fucking
thing. It's
stick
a
out your
good thing
ass
the
about
Saints have a
Saints.
high first. Oh wait, never mind.
Oh,
Shit.
Never mind.
how
Don't
good
have
do you
that.
feel if you're the
Philly,
Eagles?
Philly.
Bro, the Eagles are gonna get a top 5 pick.
They're no
Fucking
good
ski
this
mask.
year.
And they're getting the pick for CJGJ.
Yeah, they tossed in a 5th rounder somehow. Like, who's getting fleeced over there? We need
Howie
Sean
Roseman
Payton back.
just
They're
ski
gonna draft,
massing people.
Smith and Jigba.
Nah, here's
or
the,
a
I'm
big
telling you,
defensive
boys.
They wanted a
lineman.
running back, but Miles Sanders has been balling. Like that was
They're
projected
they're
on the-
projected to draft
Bijan
Robinson.
But we are going to go ahead and the Saints are going to get Sean Payton back. It's just going to happen. And then
At this point, it feels like
the
the
only
only
thing
thing
you
that
can
can help right now. I feel like the only way
we're
you can
gonna do
restore
that,
what
and
you had.
somehow we're going to figure out how
I
to
think
get
Spence is
some
gonna
more
bring the
picks.
empty
Even if we don't
checkbook.
get a first round pick, we're going to somehow figure out how to get more picks in the mid rounds to where we could get some
Yeah.
guys. Somehow. We, them, not me. All right, back to gambling. I did take the over, and I did take the -3 for San Francisco tomorrow.
I'll sleep on it.
Are you going to sleep
He'll
on it,
tease
Tom?
it. That's what he
If,
means.
yeah, that's what I was trying to get.
That's what he means. He'll
See
tease
if I can
You
get
got-
into plus money. The teaser. There's
Okay.
some other teams in there.
You got anything over the Seggies for us or what?
I do. I
All right.
do.
You're gonna say it right? Not my fault. Brought to you by who?
Don't do it.
Dozy Place.
Does Eat Place.
Yep.
Get you a steak.
Yep.
Get you.
Go there for lunch if you want.
Get you a cheeseburger if that's what you're into.
By the way,
for
tomorrow's
lunch.
gonna be cold. I'm looking for Christmas is gonna be cold
I
this year.
was about to bring up the chili that they have over there.
Did you
which
make
is
that
fine.
up?
Like the
Did they have chili?
tamales, and
Oh,
they
the
dip it in the
tamale.
chili.
Yeah, right. You're right.
That's a great cold weather meal.
Yep.
So Doe's Eat Place always will take care of you. Best
Yep.
steak in town, and it's not up for debate.
Okay.
So this is not my fault.
Yep.
And I put this in the doc on Monday, and I forgot that I had it. But it's the high school playoff game, and I believe Georgia, where it's just a total. It's a 4th down, a goal line stand to win the state championship
saw this.
with 50 seconds left, and this official just decides maybe gambled on the game because he comes in out of nowhere where this guy is clearly short.
Oh yeah, I saw this.
And
Oh yeah, I saw that. I saw that like goal line cam.
Watch how not even
it's
close
not
they
even
were.
close.
The goal line cam view is the worst. I'm gonna be honest with you.
And this guy runs in. This is a touchdown, by the way, on the field. Called it a touchdown, and you could see.
Look at
the
number
whole-
8, like, what?
What the hell are you looking at?
Yeah, here you go.
I mean, what did he see? Look, here he comes sauntering in. Touchdown.
Wow.
Had to get that over, coach.
That's so bad. I feel so bad for those kids.
Wow, that's tough. That's a tough way to go.
Well, 'cause-
Georgia 3A. Doesn't Georgia have a go up to like 7A?
Yeah,
6A
They
for
go
sure.
At least
Yeah.
6A.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
but I mean, where are they playing this game? Do you think in the
Georgia Dome, is it?
Do you think so? Because you
It's
have
probably split, honestly, if they have that many games to go.
Yeah.
because if it's on the big screen there, those people are like look up. I know you don't have review, but
look up.
if look up at the screen.
Real
Like
quick, take a peek. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, we messed that up.
we
Let's fix
fucked it up. Like my bad. But he came in there so emphatically
Actually,
that
I
it's
think
like-
a lot of high school, at least Louisiana, they have a review system if they're playing in the Superdome. So maybe they,
he's out of his challenge flag.
I don't know.
That's so tough, man. Because for a lot of high school heroes,
That is hard.
would you rather win or lose like this? Like, obviously, you'd rather win, but if there's a way to lose to where it's so blatant, and you like, obviously, people talk about winning state championships when they like get back together or whatever. Like,
I think I'd rather
5-year
get blown
reunion,
out.
you're like, bro, remember we got shafted in fucking state, and it's like,
I think I'd rather get blown out, just so you know, like, okay. Well,
you could definitely be like, we
I
won
would definitely
the game.
rather get blown
Yeah,
out.
but you like it's
You didn't
Show-
win
you
because
won.
it won't.
I
I would
know,
rather
but
get
we
blown
did.
out.
Was that 4th down?
3rd and goal.
3rd and goal, so there'd been another play.
So you just don't know.
Yeah, that's another what if.
Yeah.
Okay. 17-14.
Okay.
But still, that
Alright.
can't be called a touchdown.
Yeah, right. That can't be called a touchdown. I like that one.
Thank you.
That's Russ' fault. You definitely had money on the game.
Or
mean,
his like nephew plays on the other team or something.
That's it.
I see. I saw that.
You
Oh,
got a little
right.
curtain call? You got a little curtain call, boys? Curtain call
I
brought
do,
to you by
yeah,
Share
yeah.
Partners. My
Yeah.
friends over at Share Partners right there.
You want me to lead it off? I'll lead it off.
Yeah, lead me
I
off.
like it. My curtain call. No, don't do that to me. Since we just started talking about, some of this baseball money and all that kind of stuff, right?
Love me some baseball money.
My curtain call, and this isn't to dig on the guy.
a compliment.
This is literally a curtain call, all right? But we're gonna have to talk about his recent past before we get there. So we're gonna talk about Chris Davis. Who?
Chris Davis, like the baseball player, Chris Davis?
Yeah.
Mr. Strikes Out a lot.
Which one?
Big one.
Crash.
Big one.
Big one.
Big one.
Yeah.
Orioles one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys remember correctly, Chris's last time playing was in 2020, COVID year, right? Didn't have a good year.
Right.
He struggled. Only had 52 at bats that year. Batted 115.
He struggled for like last.
But the struggles didn't start that year. Right. You know, they started a couple years before, right? We'll go back to all the way back to 2018, where there was 470 at bats and hit 168.
Damn.
He hasn't played since 2020. This year will mark the first year of his deferred money, where for the next 15 years we have our new Bobby Bonilla.
Let's go.
So
you brought it up.
Chris, there it is. Chris is due to make $42 million over the next 15 years, and that right there, what you see on the screen, is the breakdown of how he will get this money.
He's making $9 million
while he will never be touching a baseball bat doing it. And I ain't mad one single bit at him because this is all deferred money. So whether through 2020 or not, he was an all-star and said, hey, I'm out, he was getting this money.
Wow. $9 million a year for 2023,
for 3
24,
years.
25. 3.5 a year for 7 years?
Mm-hmm.
Mailbox money.
And then 1.5 for another 4.
Lloyd just said it perfect. Can you imagine for 15 years that being your mailbox money?
$42 million of mailbox money.
That's got to be the happiest. I mean, I'm sure they don't walk to the mailbox.
Listen,
anymore.
I know he's happy right now because he was going through it.
Oh yeah, it was tough. It was rough. This will supplement it though.
No doubt. He got 100 and something million in his deal.
It was a lot. God. It was a lot.
Shout out. He's a great guy. Great guy.
That's all I've heard. That's all I've heard. That's what I said. I'm not digging on. There it is though.
Love it.
The new Bobby Bonilla.
Anytime you can get that money, it's deserved.
Yeah.
But he's probably embarrassed a little bit because of the way that it ended. No, just personally, like I wish it would have gone differently professionally because I mean he smashed, and then it just kind of.
I can for sure tell you, there's one day he ain't embarrassed from this point on.
That's whatever,
whenever he goes to the mailbox and that thing's there.
Baby, you want to go on vacation?
And is that a one-time check every year, or is it?
I don't know how it works when it's deferred money. I don't know how it works when it's deferred money, but I mean that's what he's gonna get.
That's fine. You got one?
Yeah, my friend Reed was his 21st this weekend.
Shout out to Reed.
The curtain call to Reed.
Okay, Reed.
Lloyd, you got one?
21 is that it's over after that. The celebrations aren't the same. I'm just telling you. I hope you had a time. Yeah, just take it for what. Take my advice.
Yeah, no one loves your 21st.
Ain't nobody celebrating 22, Coach.
Make some money though, and you can celebrate 30 and 40. Like when you have some money, you can celebrate the right way. Then you have some money in your pocket, and you can do it.
Well, thanks for telling everybody I'm poor.
Lloyd's like, all right, I'll get there when I'm 40. Okay, so I got something to look forward to.
I'm gonna have somebody.
I did for my 30th outside. We had a brunch at my house before. It was the day of the A&M game.
Which one? Dre Jenkins.
3 years ago. 19.
Oh, the Burrow game?
Mm-hmm.
The jersey?
Busted that ass. Yeah, that's when he walked out.
Yeah, that was 3 years ago.
And my curtain call, I do have one, is to Bronny James Jr. on the same day as LeBron James played against Carmelo's son. I think it's 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't get over this. You were texting to me, then you tweeted it. I'm sure you texted to Jared.
I did. I mean, it's insane. I watched both. I felt like talking about feeling old, and I was like, I watched LeBron play Carmelo live.
I did too.
St. Vincent St. Mary versus Oak Hill Academy, and now I'm watching both of them. But
hey, Bronny's starting to
he's starting to get it.
Look at both of them get up. Like it's
Melo's
uncanny.
Son is pretty good too.
Look, they're doing back to back.
I mean, Bronny is starting to really throw it down. When's he He's
a junior.
Not this year, but next year.
Yeah.
He's a junior. And everybody says he's not good. He's got Lejeans. I think he's going to be all right.
No, he's good. He's a 4-star recruit. Like we talked about that was a big article. Like he's a 4-star with the 5-star name was the title of the article.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think he's
but
good.
He's getting better each time I see.
I've watched him go from trying to dunk to putting it between his legs.
Yeah, so it's happening.
The Lejeans.
It's happening.
And a little dovetail of the same curtain call, which I'll probably use on Friday.
Kim K was in attendance.
The whole Kardashian family was.
I think the entire
Bronny just keep your head down. Don't get caught up in all them.
That's the one last name you stay away from.
Not the Black Widows. Not the Black Widows.
That's the Grim Reaper.
That's Medusa's.
Yeah.
The whole family. No animals when you come in here. Sorry.
Deshaun Womack goes to have a pet snake, a 5-star that's coming to LSU, and he named his aquarium Death Valley. So I think he's pretty much locked in.
Okay.
But I was going to say, and this will probably be a curtain call Friday, but just it's a little dovetail. LeBron James Jr., Bronny James, and then the father-son tournament for Tiger Woods and Charlie Woods is this weekend. So
nice.
we're in a great spot.
Did you watch the match?
I tried to. It was like all over the place. It was impossible to
I
find.
didn't watch it, but they said it was fun.
That's when I tried to sign into your YouTube TV.
Yeah, I got an alert. Somebody was trying to sign.
I just see Tiger hit one.
But they said it was fun. I didn't watch it.
It was at night.
Yeah.
It was very cool.
I like that. All right, my curtain call is to the Detroit Lions, right? Not the team. It is to the team, obviously, because of what they did. It's to Dan Campbell
The culture.
and the way. I don't know if people on the show have watched the McAfee or the interview that he had with McAfee, but he was on McAfee's show, and if you didn't watch the game, they sealed the game by sending their first round offensive lineman Penei Sewell, who's 350 pounds, in motion from left to right, and actually ran a route. The play was designed for their left tackle to catch a football. He has not had one reception in his career. And Dan Campbell's telling the story on this interview, and he's basically saying, like, they asked me if this is the play that I wanted to run, and I was telling them no, but the headset...
He forgot to push the button.
Yeah, it was all muffled, and he said didn't do it right, and all they heard was do it, or whatever.
He said don't do
He
it,
said,
and
"Don't
all
do
they
it."
heard was do it.
And all I heard was do it. They sends him in motion. He goes and gets it. And he's like, what the fuck is happening? And then they got it, and it just worked out. And he's laughing about it. But the Lions have been in a very bad spot for a very long time. And he's come in there, and he's put them in a position. They've won 4 to 5, and they're in a position to maybe make a last-minute playoff push. So shout out to that situation, and shout out to him for, like, being him, unapologetically himself.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. And people love genuine people, and he is
Campbell
no doubt.
Can't say he ain't that. Yeah,
right.
100%.
So, great show today, boys.
Yes, sir.
Great show today. Mason Smith was a great. Next week we may have some pretty cool guests. 1 and 2. Maybe we have. Are we still doing the morning show?
Yes.
Okay. Are we announcing that right now? Or?
Yeah. Hold on. I actually did. You asked me to do something, and I did it.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Must be on this New Year's resolution thing, huh? Starting it early.
Where did I ask?
Great.
Hold on.
We're here.
Wednesday
morning, 7 to 9.
Wednesday morning.
Mic'd up.
Jordy Culotta show. Hosted by Mikie Mahtook.
Oh, we're not doing mic'd up.
No, we're going for the morning audience, coach. We can't be surprised in the mic'd up people when they're expecting the Culotta show, like stream-wise. So it'll be your show. It'll be a mic'd up version of the show. I'm just saying we're going from the Jordy Culotta show channel.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
We're just not going to have a mic'd up show from our channel that day.
We can.
I'm not having 2 shows with the same show. That's my question.
That's it. We'll talk about that.
Okay. Yeah, we'll talk off air about that.
Yeah. And see if Culotta wants to hook us up with how he wants his show. Like, if he has anything lined up.
Yeah.
Very unlikely.
I mean, it's the recruiting signing day.
Yeah, I know. We're trying to get Shea Dixon in as well to do a power hour of recruiting that day. We want to put him in the war room, but talks are ongoing.
All right.
Because he's like, I actually do have to work for my actual job.
His job. Yeah. We'll talk it through. We have a week.
But it'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be good. We will be live again this Friday from Uncle Earl's, 4:30 to 6.
Favorite place.
Best place in town to grab a drink.
There you go.
Especially when they're free.
And it's going to be a little cool outside today, this week.
boys.
The heaters are going to be out there. Come have some perfect time to have a little drink outside on the patio or inside, depending on where we're at.
Or what they have going on around us at the same time, conveniently.
We'll see. But it's going to be fun.
Really hustling
come hang
and
out.
bustling around.
Yeah, come hang out with us. Enjoyed the show. I hope y'all enjoyed the show. If y'all didn't, sorry.
Okay.
It's okay. We'll try again. You're watching Mic'd Up. We're brought to you by Sterling Automotive. And please like and subscribe, share it, tell a friend. And we're on all podcast networks.
Sterling Automotive.
And
Dos
network.
Equis.
Yep. Shout out to all of our sponsors. Doze.
And Frankie Harris.
Assured Partners.
And
All right.
Partners.
You have a good Wednesday night. Peace.
Peace.